At the Okoli Law Group, we specialize in producing justice. If you or a loved one in the Atlanta metro area is facing serious criminal charges, then you need serious legal representation.
The Okoli Law Group is here for you. The Okoli Law Group is here for us.
The Okoli Law Group, serious legal representation.
Peace, fam. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining. Do me a favor. Please hit that like button and please hit that like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Give me a second. Let me make sure this is okay. Cool. One more thing. There we go. We're good to go. Got a couple of announcements. Announcement number one: citizenship in Sierra Leone is back on. Okay. Citizenship in Sierra Leone is back on. If you're interested in starting the process, please visit Danfo, DANFO.Africa. Again, please visit Danfo, DANFO.Africa to learn more. In fact, let me share the screen with y'all. Let's see here. There we go. Boom, boom, bam. There we go. So please visit Danfo.Africa to learn more. Would love to have y'all, love to host you all in Sierra Leone. And that is April 20th through May 4th. Then we are rolling to Senegal, but the Senegal tour is full already. That is May 27th through June 4th. Then we have Nigeria in August for the Oshun Festival. That's August 3rd to the 12th. Then we are going to Zanzibar in September for Safari Blue. That is September 21st to the 30th. Then we're going to Namibia and South Africa. So it's a 2-for-1. That is going to be November 7th through the 18th, and then back to Sierra Leone. That's going to be December 20th through January 4th. If you're interested in joining us, please visit Danfo.Africa to learn more. Again, please visit Danfo.Africa to learn more. Let's jump right into it, into today's topic. I don't want to hear no more complaining about Paul Kagame. I'm sorry. Okay, let's see here. RFK Jr. has been confirmed as Health and Human Services head. That's big. But again, I don't want to hear nothing about Paul Kagame. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You guys should be upset at the president of Sierra Leone. I'm sorry, not Sierra Leone, Congo. Again, you should be upset at the president of the Congo. I don't want to hear nothing, no more complaining about Paul Kagame. I'm over it. And the reason why is because whenever people start bringing up what's going on in Eastern Congo and, you know, the resources that are used to, you know, power our iPhones and all that other stuff, and how the Congo is just being raped and natural resources being stolen, y'all never bring up the president of the Congo. What is he doing? What's Felix doing? The Congolese military not getting paid. How dysfunctional leadership is in the Congo. Y'all quick to point the finger at Kagame. And the excuse is, well, he's backed by the West. Listen, Kagame is not backed by the West the same way Israel is. Again, Kagame is not backed by the West the same way Israel is. With all these resources that the Congo have, they should be capable of putting up a fight and defending their people. That's why I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear another complaint about Paul Kagame until y'all get the leadership and the president of the Congo get that together. That's what you guys need to focus on, the leadership of the Congo. Congo has been dealing with terrible leadership since the assassination of Patrice Lumumba. So what? Paul Kagame has been there 30 plus years. What's Congolese leadership doing? What's Congolese leadership doing? I'm gonna call it the Paul Kagame card. Y'all use the Paul Kagame card too much. Y'all use the Paul Kagame card too much. Guys, links in the chat room. If you want to call in and add to the conversation, we'll start taking some calls. Again, if you want to call in and add to the conversation, oh boy, let's hold on, guys. We're gonna interrupt this show with this U.S. aid hearing turns physical, protesters thrown out. Okay, go ahead.
Peace. How you doing, Dynast?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for asking, man. It's crazy how people are coming at Paul Kagame, but they're not coming at Felix, the president of the Congo, or any of the previous presidents.
It's so weird. Like, they will complain about the Congo. Oh my God, what's going on in the East? They're raping, they're taking the minerals, they're stealing the minerals, but they would never bring up Felix.
Never
which is
bring
weird.
up Felix. And bring up the fact that this man is actually hiring European mercenaries to come out there and fight and steal minerals in the Congo.
Right.
At least with Paul Kagame, these are Africans who are let's say he's doing all of the propaganda that they say he's doing. He has troops over in the Congo. They're stealing resources. They're stealing minerals. At least it's going to benefit other African people. At least it's not benefiting European countries. And Romanian mercenaries. This is what Felix is doing. He's hiring these people to come out there and imagine the war crimes they're committing. But you only want to highlight M23. M23 are Congolese last time I checked. But everybody has they did this trick bag by just associating M23 with Rwanda to the point you think that M23 are Rwandans. They're really Congolese. They just tired of the BS. And they're just one rebel group in the Congo. It's like 119. Why is anybody saying anything about the other 119 or 118? I'm sorry.
Somebody in the chat room said, Dynish, you don't really understand the complexities of the DRC, do you? You can do better than this. How would you respond to that, Castro?
You know, I get this a lot from, it's usually Congolese people who are abroad. You're not there. You're not on the front line. And if you care so much, you pick up a chopper and you go out there and fight. But you don't care that much. All you care about is your comfort. And you really don't care about the country and what's been happening to the country since Patrice Lumumba has been assassinated. It's been robbed, raped, pillaged. But now that it's another African country who is trying to, implement some kind of stability, like last time I checked, Rwanda got clean streets.
Well, but they're saying that outside of Kigali is a mess. That's what I heard. I've never been. I don't know. I can't confirm that, but
Yeah, I've never been either. Usually rural areas aren't that messy. It's usually the city areas. Like even over here in America,
Mm-hmm.
it's not really the rural areas that are trashy. You go to Chicago and now you got trash on the ground and stuff. It's
Right.
where there is a high population of people in a small concentration of land.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only time you get things like pollution and you have to worry about cleaning the streets and stuff like that. Because the people out there in the rural areas, they can't really afford all that stuff, can they?
Right.
So I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I believe the competency of Paul Kagame.
Prince P and Law. Go ahead.
Yeah, what's good, big bro? How's everything?
All is well, man.
God bless. That's good. My main point is that just Felix Tshisekedi has been only in power for maybe 5 to 6 years. I think this is his second term, while Paul Kagame has been there for over 30 years. So Felix, in my opinion, Felix Tshisekedi has agitated even during the EAC. He agitated in the SADC, South Africa Union, and the Central African Union to make this a vocal point, and agitated it in the AU as well to try to come up with an actual solution. Because whether you want to talk about M23, et cetera, all these other groups that you feel that may have a just cause or some kind of cause, the point is that region is unstable for over 40 years, I want to say 40 years. One of the biggest peacekeeping mission, the UN mission, is in the Congo with over 30,000 soldiers. So this is not a new thing, but I feel like Felix Tshisekedi is actually agitating. He's actually trying to invest in the army. He's actually trying to call for dialogue and utilize the different power blocks, because you have to understand Kagame is a very popular, strong figure, and he has been in power for over 30 years, which means he outlasts many presidents, and he has a lot of power and sway. He's very celebrated throughout the African diaspora as well in the Caribbean. So he has popularity behind him. You see what I'm saying? Even when y'all talk about Rwanda, I talk about Rwanda very positively because he has built a strong image. You know what I mean? So Felix Tshisekedi is going against all of that when he's been in power for 6 years tops, and his predecessor been in power for 20 years. That's the real question. What did Kabila do to challenge that or to create change or cut a deal with Kagame? That's the real question, in my opinion. And I feel like he didn't do nothing. He didn't grow the army. Some people love and praise Kabila, but if you look at the condition of Congo today, it's really Kabila. What has he done to challenge or change or create peace in Goma and increase wealth in DRC? That's my real question. Not Felix Tshisekedi. Felix Tshisekedi, you can look at the proof. The proof is there. He has agitated within his 5, 6 years that he has been there to make the DRC a primary talking point and peace in the East a primary talking point and increase the army. That's my standing point. But I'm going to pass the mic.
All right. Yeah. Go ahead, y'all.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, Diners. Thank you for allowing me onto the channel. Um, I just want to say real quick. This whole thing is like, very complex. It's really no good guy or bad guy or re- really the whole thing is just really about power. Really, I mean, Uganda, Rwanda are landlocked nations. You know, they don't have access to the sea. It's if they have to, if they're bringing anything into their countries, they have to import it. It either has to come through Tanzania, it has to come through Kenya. You know, it's harder for a landlocked nation to survive than it is for a nation that's closer to the sea. So nations like Rwanda and Uganda literally have to fight to survive. You know, so from looking at the maps, these M23 came through Uganda, created like a buffer zone, you know, and then came down south and then attacked, like and then They attacked Sake, Minova, like they. So pretty much, it's like the East African warlords have decided to just attack Congo so that way they can prosper off of it. You could see even Kenya's gonna benefit off of it. So like the business of the world is Africa's minerals are for sale. Israel makes money off of our diamond. The UAE makes money off of our gold. It's just unfortunate that some of our heads of states, play the game. So as for the Congolese people, you guys just gonna have to be strong, man. You're just gonna have to rise up and defeat the Ugandans and the Rwandans in the field, and then send them back into their country. It's just that simple. That's all I gotta say. Have a good night, everyone. Have a good day.
Appreciate it. Links in the chat room. Link is in the chat room, you guys. Please hit that like button as well. I've never been to Rwanda. I want to go to the Congo. I still want to go to the Congo. There's a tribe I want to visit called the Bakuba. So I want to go see them. So I'm still going to the Congo someday. Don't know when, but I'm going.
I want to see the pygmy people in the Congo as well. They're really mistreated as well. And that's why I feel like Paul Kagame going in the Congo, he could really bring some stability to where we could see the people profit and the people, for once, not feel like they in slavery, because it seemed like.
Well, what are you basing that on? Like, what are you basing that on?
What am I basing what on?
His besides Rwanda, what is the rubric of what you basing him being able to
I'm
spread
basing
wealth
it on
in front of?
Rwanda. I'm not basing it on anything else because I don't believe there's anything else to base it on. But Rwanda's a good example because Rwanda's a very densely populated country, and for him to be able to keep the streets clean, I think that's pretty impressive. I'm sorry that the bar is so low for us. Yeah, but I think that's impressive because like I see some of these other countries, these other densely populated countries, and there's like filth in the street. It's trash everywhere. And that's America too. Like you go up Chicago, and it's trash on the south side. It's trash on the streets everywhere. Especially in some neighborhoods. So, I think that because he's able to do that, like rulers like that in the past, they've often been good rulers. Like people like Papa Doc. They said Papa Doc had the streets so clean you could eat off the streets. So we need these kind of leaders instead of people like Felix. Go look at the streets in the Congo, and you let me know how that is compared to the streets over in Rwanda. That's what we base it off of.
Again, but Papa Doc, although I respect him, he had a leadership in which he brutalized people and forced people not to speak against his rule. So unless you were a part of his regime,
They
you
say the
lived in
same thing
fear
about
because you
Paul
couldn't
Kagame.
criticize. They do say the same thing about Paul Kagame. You can't talk
Yeah,
about the Tutsi, Hutus, individuals who disagree with some of his policies disappear. Even a guy from Hotel Rwanda was, some people view that as a kidnapping when he was manipulated to go to speak at some country and was taken at the airport and brought back to Rwanda and judged in Rwanda. So your perspective of Kagame is somehow like similar to myself, somewhat more celebratory towards him. But in reality, there's certain things he does that is questionable. Would you live under a regime like that yourself?
Hey,
Even so I'm sorry.
I have a question.
No, let them
Go ahead.
finish. Skylar, let
Okay.
them. Well, hold on. Amcal's next, but let them finish.
My main point. My
you
main
asked
point
would
is
I
I
live under a
respect.
regime like that?
Yeah, because you're judging it based on a capital city. If you look at most capital cities, included in Uganda, Benin, other nations, they're all also clean cities. So is that a rubric to go invade nearby nations that may be less developed rather than creating partnerships and packing and sharing the wealth? I feel like Kagame is
Well,
trying to
I
take
don't think the
advantage
Congo is
of
less
Congo.
developed than Rwanda. I think that's a misconception. I think
No,
the
no, but
Congo.
you don't think he's trying to take advantage of the weaker leadership to force their hand for him to
I think
become
that
the
would be a
ruler and
good
leader?
idea if he is. I think that would be a good idea if he is. It would be genius if he does, because these lines, these what we call borders, they weren't drawn by us. So
Yeah, but
especially
borders is not a new
okay.
thing. There still was
So
regional tribal areas and kingdoms.
can
That's
I
not a
just
new.
can I just finish my statement before you go, brother? The lines weren't drawn by us, so we don't really need to be honoring these lines, especially when you got bullets flying over the border and they're killing Rwandans, stray bullets from the conflict that's going on over in the Congo. So at some point you're gonna have to secure your border, and at some point you're gonna have to go in there and see what's going on, especially if you're able to. So as long as he's able to, I commend him. He got my support 100%. Because what's going on, people not saying the other side. They're not saying anything about Felix. This guy's corrupt. Not saying how much money he makes. Why isn't they pay, why aren't they paying the Congolese army? But they're paying European mercenaries. That's corruption.
All right, let me pass the mic to Omcall. Omcall, mute yourself. Omcall, go ahead. Omcall, we can't hear you. Let me pass it to Skylar. Go ahead, Skylar.
Yeah, like I was saying, eventually every country, once they get to a certain stage of development, they eventually invade the other countries pretty much. You see this like with Russia invading Ukraine, China invading Taiwan, taking Hong Kong. And you know what, America, Donald Trump trying to take Canada and Greenland. So you're going to leave America now if Donald Trump invades Canada, where he takes Greenland, who are their principal load. You're going to leave America if Donald Trump invades Canada or Greenland. So this idea that he invades other countries is stupid. Every country that's great invades another country, whether it's Turkey, India, Russia. That's what powerful countries do in order to maintain their power. Second, every country is a dictatorship. You can't say certain things in America. Just like if you go to China, you say bad things about Xi Jinping, you'll disappear. Or disappear in Russia, or disappear in America, you disappear in Israel. So this Mexico, he's a dictator. It's just stupid because every country is a dictator. Like you can't say anything in a certain country, whether you're America or anywhere else. I don't judge Paul Kagame based off he's a dictator or he invades a country. I base him is he developing his country? That's the only thing that matters at the end of the day. Is he developing his country? Is he securing the country? Is he protecting the country? And the answer is yes. He's protecting his country, developing Rwanda. He's doing what he needs to do to protect his country. Right now, he went to Saudi Arabia for business. Right now, he's going to Qatar. And the future racetrack, I think NASCAR or Formula One is going to Rwanda. He's developing his country, unlike the DRC. No, Felix is a fat ass. All right, we can all see that. Paul Kagame is still lean. Paul Kagame is a soldier. Paul Kagame fought for his country to stay in shape all these years. You look at Felix, he's a fat ass. His he got his wealth from his dad. And same thing in South Africa. He's Sarah was a fat ass. And the guy in Burundi. Burundi is the poorest country in Africa. Burundi is literally the poorest country in Africa. All right, that's a literal fact. You can look this up. And we're gonna criticize Paul Kagame, who is the least it's not the least poor, but it's not nearly as poor. It's way more developed, way more
But
advanced.
have you seen Burundi's
Let me
capital
finish.
city? Is it
Let me
also
finish. No, 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 no.
clean? It's like
No, it's not. No, the
that's your
hell it's not.
rubric.
No, it's not. No,
The
it's not.
capital city.
No, 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 no.
Just pull up the capital city of
It is no.
Burundi.
Listen to me. Listen to me. Burundi is literally the poorest country in Africa. That is a statistical fact. All right. Rwanda is far more better than Burundi. Okay. All right. So let's get clear about that. Rwanda could easily be poor as Burundi, but it's not because of Paul Kagame. Paul Kagame made Rwanda great, and he's making the Great Lakes. He makes all the countries around him great. All right. Period. Who can pass the mic?
All right, go ahead, Christine.
Can I,
Yes.
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes. Hi, Mr. Mir. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm fine. The gentleman just said that Burundi was the poor. There's not one poor country in Africa. It's just poorly taken care of. Their countries are not poor. They're just not taking care of them the way they should. And when I'm listening to, we're here talking about Kagame. I don't understand about all the trash. Okay, there's not a nation in this world that doesn't have trash. Okay, that's everywhere. We know that. But to me, when I'm hearing this man, I'm looking at him. Now, he's trying to do something. Everybody else is stealing in the Congo, but that's not being talked about. Chinese just were caught with gold and money. That's not talked about. But they're going to jump this man who's in Africa, who's there living, because he's defending. If he is doing that, why is he wrong and not all the other nations, the UN, everybody else is in there stealing? But they're going to focus on Kagame. Please tell me why. I don't understand that. He's doing something. To me, he's doing something that I don't see anybody else doing. He's there right there on the border. And I noticed that when it comes to border countries that are on the water, they always have the most, if they're not bought and sold by the other nations that want all that's inside of Africa, then I mean it's so unfortunate to hear all this stuff. Some of it's basic and some of it's not. It's just sad. That's all. It's really, really sad. And I pass the mic.
Go ahead, Omcall.
All right, thank you. Peace to everybody. And sorry for the earlier.
Hey, you got to echo, Omcall.
Let me, because I was on the other one.
Go ahead, Ola. Ola, got to mute yourself.
Oh yeah, okay, thank you, man. You know, I've been listening to some of these guys, and one thing about Congo is not that Rwanda is strong. Congo population is far more than Rwanda. Like the problem is the central government is so corrupt, and the country is big. You see, Paul Kagame have no marshal in Western world. He only have his house in Rwanda. You know, all these leaders that's going to Europe, America to buy houses, they form money to that place. They don't care about the army. Their chief of army staffs are all corrupt. What do you expect? What is the population of Rwanda? Not so much. What is the population of the army? Not so much. It's just that he just found Congo weak in a certain aspect in that area that the government refused to invest on. You cannot differentiate between those soldiers and gorilla in those jungle. I think the gorillas, they are far more powerful than the soldiers. Corrupt. The field commanders are corrupt. The ground soldiers are corrupt. There's nothing good about them. You know, that's why a tiny Rwanda can just invade population by 100 million. Maybe Rwanda's about 10 million. You know, you talk about Russia and Ukraine. You can see what happened between Russia and Ukraine. You know, Ukraine was kind of like being like give kind of like Coca-Cola to drink and say, oh yeah, you can win the Russians. We give you all kind of weapons, you win the Russians. But at the end of the day, Ukraine, who's almost brother to Russia, forget how brutal Russia can be, and they're not retreating. These are people who know how to fight. You understand me? So Congo, they don't know how to fight. They know how to wear French dresses, eat stock broad, and dress like old colonial Frenchmen, and go to Paris and buy houses and all these things. That's what you see. You know, our leaders, African leaders that are investing in Western world to buy mansions and everything, their country is usually and automatically poor in everything. Corruption, in all kind of things that follow corruption, weak army, weak everything, they cannot defend their border. That's just it.
Okay. Omcall, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Can I say something real quick?
Well, let me pass the Omcall because he hasn't. Go ahead, Omcall.
Yeah, thank you, Dinas, and peace to everybody. And yeah, I was on the phone trying to listen to everybody. And man, I'm surprised to hear us African or African American or people, you know, melanated, supporting a criminal or a modern day King Leopold II. And you know me, Diners, I don't come here speaking without facts or giving references so that everybody else can check. First, I will have to rebuttal like Skylar, who is here again. I would recommend everybody, because I'm not going to have hour to speak, go to AfriStory Production and look who assassinated former Rwandan dictator Juvenal Habyarimana. This guy did a mini doc, but with references to books, to research, to court documents that have been. He took all the theory, the RPF theory and the researcher theory. Then you're gonna conclude yourself to prove to Skylar that what I said last time, that is not the so-called Akazu who killed Habyarimana. You're gonna find it there. If you don't have time to read books. Okay, now let me go refuting one point after another. Now, and I'm gonna refute this by giving you a reference. I lack my African, African journal or African-owned media, because I know when we go to Western, yes, they can speak the truth, but they have some agenda. So, Black Agenda Report. To look for article, Bill Clinton and the Dictators Club. Another one, exposing the crimes of CIA herd boy Paul Kagame and the Rwandan Patriotic Front. Then you can go to African Stream. It was taken out of YouTube. Now it's on Rumble. Look for the King Leopold of 2024 is Paul Kagame. Now, without going into many articles, I'll stop there. Then let me say this. First of all, saying that you praise Paul Kagame because Kigali is clean and stuff on. I'll give you an example.
The argument is why isn't Congo leadership defending its people?
Yes, I'll talk to that, but let me refute, because them also they didn't talk about this. Let me refute that. Then Danas, as you know me, I'm not for actual Congolese leadership. I've been criticizing it. I'm among the people who are fighting it, but in the same time, I have to hold. I'm not saying that Kagame is responsible for all the mess in Congo right now. I'm not even gonna say that, because as I said before, Kagame is the subcontractor on this situation in Congo. There are the masterminds. This situation in Congo is masterminded by some interest in US, and I can name some. Reference again, Holocaust in Congo by Charles Onana, an African brother researcher who's a PhD in politics and journalism. You're gonna find even the names. Bill Clinton, the Roger Winters, and there is some element of Pentagon. Our Susan Rice, even the former American senator, what's her name? Cynthia McKinney, in her book. You remember Cynthia McKinney was I know.
Yes, I remember Cynthia McKinney.
She was actually, before she revolted against the plan, she was in it, because she was sent by Bill Clinton to Africa to see Paul Kagame. She was like a type of a relay between the American administration, the Clinton administration, Paul Kagame, and Laurent Desire Kabila. But later on, when she found out actually what's really going on, what's the plan, she rebelled against it, and it's among the reason why she left even the Democratic Party. Now, let me rebuke what I heard here. Cleaning Rwanda, Rwanda is big on propaganda. I'm telling you this, and I will give even the reference to a book written by former, the people who were in this thing, who helped Paul Kagame to build the image of Rwanda, which right now. A lot of things which you are fed on Rwanda, it's propaganda. In Kigali, yes, it's clean, but when you go into the interior now, try to go to Kinyaga. Even from Kigali, just go deep, like 2 kilometers inside. You're gonna see the true Rwanda. Rwanda, it's a poor country, but it's big. Kagame spent a lot of money on this Western cabinet on propaganda or on image building. So when you say, for example, the guy I heard Scala saying Burundi is very poor, so he's against that country. The president of Burundi, of course, he has also his mistake, but Burundi and Rwanda, it's the same. If Burundi is poor, know that Rwanda is also poor on the same level. Whatever mineral they have in Rwanda, they have also in Burundi. In Burundi, they have a little bit of gold and a little bit of coltan, even actually more coltan than in Rwanda. So what they've been building Rwanda, it's the pillaging of Congo. and the money which Congo under President Joseph Kabila was given to Rwanda because he was like their stooge. And this, you can find it, you can read it in by former Rwandan chief of staff. He wrote a book, Kagame's Killing Field. You can find it on Amazon. And even on YouTube, if you just Google David Himbara on Iwachu, he has given a lot of interview explaining what they were doing, what was going on. Now, cleaning Rwanda and comparing to maybe Kenya or even Congo, South Africa, do you know how many kilometers of mile of paved road are in Rwanda? It's not more than 1,200. But because it's a tiny country, it's a small country.
Okay. Why does Congolese leadership suck?
Yes,
why can't they defend their people?
I will speak to that. Yes, Congolese Tshisekedi is Tshisekedi is useless, weak leader, and corrupt. That's true. Me too. I'm for that. But you know, to understand this situation in Congo, if you just take it from, you start learning about this situation in Great Lake from 1994, you're gonna be misled. If you really want to understand this situation, try to learn what happened in Uganda in the 1980s until 1990. Then go to Rwanda from 1990 to 1994. Then you're gonna start understanding what is going on in Congo. Congo, Tshisekedi, for example, I'll give you an article of foreign policy for those who like Western media. Maybe it's something also which can help you. The article is Washington, let Congo's stolen 2018 election stand. To defend democracy, Biden needs to fix diplomacy. Read this article, then you're going to understand that even Kagame is partly to blame for Tshisekedi being a president. Because this is what happened. Tshisekedi didn't win the election of 2018, but he went into deals with the former president who we never liked, who was a Trojan horse, Joseph Kabila, to impose Tshisekedi with the consent of Paul Kagame, Museveni, and the other president who signed to this, also Ramaphosa signed to this, and the President Al-Sisi of Egypt. These are documents which people can find. So that's why, despite the fact that we Congolese, we are fighting to take Tshisekedi out, and that's why even M23, it has gained some type of momentum, because Tshisekedi has failed to unite Congolese people to fight this because of corruption and the mistake that he has done. Now, I will return to the point which I was trying to make. Cleaning Rwanda compared to Congo or Kenya or Uganda is like cleaning a studio apartment, which you are comparing to the effort of cleaning 65 or 85 bedroom mansions. It's not the same. It's not the same. Yes, there is credit that we need to give to President Paul Kagame, but when you start comparing, and also, do you know how many people have died recently in Goma? Now it's, this is conservative number which the UN experts and NGO and which they are giving. They are saying 3,000. But us who have families down there, we know that it's more than this. It's probably in the 4,500. And us as African, condoning a guy who's causing this. Actually, M23 is a Rwandan special force military who took the face of some Congolese, with a few Congolese of Banyarwanda, of Banyarwanda origin, and the face, like that guy, Corneille Nangaa, is not in charge of that AFC. That's why.
See, if I can interject, you're proving my point and Cashanova's point.
I'm struggling.
And the point is, Skyler, you got a lot of Skyler, you have too much background noise going on. Our point is that it's just immediately all the blame shifts to Kagame and not Congolese leadership.
No, not true. Not true.
Hey, can I make a question real quick?
It's not on Kagame. As I said again before, we need to hold Kagame accountable.
You said the man that is causing all of this.
Yeah, yes, because look at this.
Yeah, can I ask a question?
Kagame, because if Kagame couldn't accept to be used as a proxy and accept the deal which Tshisekedi was suggesting to him, like going to exploitation of allowing Rwanda, like the coltan which is mined in Congo, it will be refined in Rwanda, so that Rwanda also can benefit from that. The gold, part of the gold which will be exploited, will be dig in Kivu, will be refined in Rwanda. Couldn't Rwanda win? Wins in that? It couldn't be a win-win situation. It could be a win-win situation, but because he had an agenda and his masterminders or his handlers, their plan is not that. They let him or they instigate him to send this special force and train the M23 so that they can kill Congolese people. And it's a shame for us Africans condoning stuff like that. Kagame has been, this war which Kagame caused or which Kagame has been used as
again, it's just
more than 10 million
Mike, you're proving our point. It's Kagame. Where's the Congolese leadership?
Yes, as I said again, Congolese leadership has to blame to go around, but
But
Dennis, ask the question.
He embezzled more than during all this is leadership. He has embezzled more than probably $200 million US, which could have used build strengthen the army. But another thing you need to understand, you need to go into the history of Congolese army. Like I'll give you another reference. There is a brother from Tanzania who got it because there was in the 2012 there was of Tanzanian officers who went in Congo under the AU and UN mandates, and they actually found the truth. He said this: actually, the situation in Congo army it looks weak because in Congolese army there is a lot of Rwandan and Ugandan who the EU is allowed to infiltrate Congolese army.
Oh God!
Yo, Dennis, I need to say something. Dennis, please let me say something.
I can give you reference.
Hold on. Let Skylar ask his question. Go ahead, Skylar.
Okay. This guy constantly blames Rwanda and Paul Kagame for everything. Listen to this man blames everything on Paul Kagame. First thing first, the plane that got shot down. I need you guys to think about this really hard. This guy will tell you a bunch of books, read this book, read that book, but this is a fact on the ground. After the plane was shot down, the presidential guard went to go murder the president, Madam Agatha. Think about this for a second. The presidential guard, all Hutus, their job is to guard the president, to guard the prime minister. The prime minister whose plane got shot down. Why did they not get to go investigate the plane that got shot down? Why did they instead went to go murder the president?
They investigated.
No. Let me. I want you guys to think.
Yeah, the one who reached the black box,
guys, think. No, guys, think about
have
this.
You ever read
guys,
book
it was a coup. Let me speak, man. Let me speak, bro. It was a coup, okay? The the president and the prime minister was for the Arusha Accord. They were for peace. They wanted to work with the RPF. Then in extremist fashion, shot down the plane. Every single president or prime minister of Africa got killed by their own military. Period. It was the military that kills their own president. Hold on, let me finish. Let me finish. Every president, whether it's in Liberia with Samuel Doe, remember Dennis in Liberia, it was the military that caused the 1980 coup. Just like in Nigeria, every single president is couped by the military. Every single time in Africa. So all of a sudden, a militia can sneak in the country. They can sneak in the country, shoot down the plane, and the presidential guard don't capture them. The presidential guard doesn't capture them. They don't find them. They don't prevent the plane to shoot down. But the presidential guard went to go murder the president instead of capture those who shot down the plane. Does that make sense to anybody here? Okay? I want you guys to think about that, Dennis.
Let me answer now. Okay, use your own brain and do research. Do you see you are talking?
There's no research of fact. Did the presidential guard answer my question? Did the presidential guard murder the president? Did the presidential guard murder the president?
Okay,
did they murder the president? Answer the question.
Let me answer.
Did they murder the president?
Let me ask.
Did they murder the president?
Let me explain to the people. Now, people, use your brain and imagine. How can a group of people who are pro their president kill not only one president, but two presidents of their group, one of Burundi and one of Rwanda, and then kill their army chief of staff, like their boss, their chief? And you are telling me this group is headed by the wife of this president who loved his husband, and this wife allowed like the head of their power, not only in one country but in two countries, be decapitated by them so that they can turn power. As I've said, I'm not backing on. It's not.
It happens all the time. People kill people and don't try.
Let me finish. I let you finish. It's not hearsay. Me, I have documents from both sides, from the guys who was in the operation. I gave it again the last time. Abdul Joshua Ruzibiza, in his book, The Real
You
Nature
keep
of
saying about a book,
Hold on,
dude. You keep
hold
talking
on, let
about
me
a book.
finish. The Real Nature
Who
of
murdered the
RPF.
president? Who
Listen,
murdered the president?
again,
Answer the question. Who
again,
murdered the president?
I'll
Dinus,
say,
Dinus, ask the
I'm
question.
giving
Who
you
murdered the
reference. Listen,
president? Who
also,
murdered the Hutu president?
the book.
Who murdered the Hutu
Yes,
president?
I'll
He
say,
doesn't want to answer the question. He does not
let,
want to answer the question. Think
let
about
you
it.
speak. Let me speak.
Why does he want to
I'm
answer the
giving you
question?
reference so people
Who
can
murdered the
can
Hutu
go.
president,
Hold
Madam
on.
Agatha?
Let me
Was it
answer
the
now.
RPF?
Can you give
Was
me?
it the Tutsis? Who
Yes.
murdered Madam Agatha?
All right.
Who murdered Madam Agatha? Answer the
Okay.
question.
Yes. I'm not talking like a street guy. I'm talking like somebody with reference.
You're talking like an idiot. You're talking like you guys are sounding like a conspiracy theory, dude.
Hold on. If you want us to start insulting one another, I'm not of that level of insulting people.
You're not. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry I insult you. I'm sorry I insult you, but you're not answering the question, dude.
I'm giving references. Anybody can go to.
You're not answering the question.
Hold on.
You're not answering
I
the
will
question.
answer, but
It's a simple question. Who murdered the president? Who murdered the president?
Hold on now. As I
No,
explained
we
before,
don't know. We don't know fully.
Hold on.
We don't know fully.
As I
Assume.
explained again before.
We don't know. We do know.
Hold on.
We do know who Fooley is. We know who murdered the president.
Now, let me answer like an intellectual, bro. I'm not like a street guy like you. All document, all investigation, other than investigation which is like a commission by RPF or which is interfered by RPF, the guys who are in power. They've demonstrated that the former Rwandan military didn't have any Sol Air missile. And that Sol Air missile, which was used in shouting down that plane, it was traced to Uganda. Everybody knows which side Uganda was supporting. And even the guys who were in that operation, they've given interviews. I'm saying it's online in YouTube. You can find it. The Kagame side is the one who shot down the plane. But yes, the presidential guard, when they found that, because they are the one, they reached you the black box, then UN took that black box. The black box actually of that plane is found in UN headquarters in New York. This is now, because the conflict was actually a political conflict. It's not like they are trying to manipulate it now like it was ethnic conflict. Then they went and because they knew, now, since they've killed the president, the one who's going to take power is Agata. Agata was not, he was an opposition figure to the then government of Abiyarimana. So they went, who was a prime minister already, they were power sharing government. They went and killed Madame Ogata. Then when the plane was shot down, RPF restarted the attack, the assault, on many parts, trying to close out.
So think about this. I want you to think about this. The presidential guard murdered the president. That makes sense.
I let you speak.
They didn't want to go look for it. They didn't. Did that make sense to you, bro?
Hold on. I let you speak. Let me finish as well. Then they went, instead of rushing to Kigali, RPF first went to the eastern side of
listen, my guy, you're skipping. I know you're skipping on something important. You're skipping on something important. The presidential guard murdered the president.
Hold on.
I know you're skipping over something important. You're skipping over something very important. The RPF shot down the plane, but the presidential guard didn't want to go get the RPF. They went to go murder the president. Why did they not look for who shot down the plane?
Just 1 minute, then I'll let you talk again.
Because I'm not letting you get what your nonsense right here, man. You said you omitted that the president guard murdered the president, and instead of the president guard looking for who shot the plane, the prime minister, they went to go murder the president. Why would they murder the president unless it's a coup? My whole point is that it was a coup, and that proves the fact it was a coup. The military killing the head of state, the president, that is a coup. That happens all the time in Africa. He wants to convince you that the military, RPF, magically got into Kigali, they magically shot down the plane, and they magically got away. Nobody caught them, nobody found them. They got in like magic, they got out like magic. Does that make any sense to anybody?
Okay, let me answer you.
Hold
on, Skylar. Have you ever read any book on Rwanda? You don't look like somebody who've ever read. I'll give you a reference to the UN themselves, the UN contingent, or Captain Bobo. He wrote a book, Captain Bobo, who is the head of like intelligence in the UN group there. He explained what was going on. Actually, why even RPF, because they were trying even to get RPF to rush when these Hutu extremists, they start killing Tutsi and killing any Hutu was in the opposition. They were trying even to get RPF to rush into Kigali so that they can, because they knew already militarily. The then Rwandan government, because it was in sanction for 3 years, they were not much to RPF when it came to combat or militarily. Do you know that even there are nations on UN who requested the UN and other countries to send urgently the force in Rwanda so as to stop the killings? But do you know who stopped it? I'm giving you a reference. Madam Prosecutor, written by Carla Del Ponte. You can find it even in his interview on YouTube. It's Rwanda and the Bill Clinton administration that stopped it. Who stopped the UN from sending reinforcement force in Rwanda? Because they had a plan. As I said again, in the same book, In Praise of Blood, there is a map. Not only in Praise of Blood, but there is our brothers, African-American researchers, Professor Christian Davenport. He has his lecture online. You can go and see. He used data from CIA. He accessed data in Rwanda. He spent many years in Rwanda doing research on this. He showed with maps what RPF was doing and which military tactics they were doing. They found out later on that the plan was to push as many people as they can into Congo, not in Burundi or in Tanzania, because they had a second plan of invading Congo. Now, if I can answer the answer, you have to understand the history of Congolese military. Congo army was weakened by purpose. Of course, Mobutu, we blame Mobutu for that. Later on, when Mobutu was chased to power, they destroyed that army. Then they went and rebuilt under the EU, as I said again, under the masterminders of this world situation, who are interested in US, UK, and NATO. They built another army, infiltrated, put it in, because Congolese had no power. People were trying to protest this thing, but a lot of people were killed. And that's when a lot of people don't understand the origin. This is actually the origin of many armed groups in Congo. When you hear, they just say, oh, in Congo there is 150 armed groups. Most of these armed groups, they were born in protesting all this situation, all this, what the EU was trying to do. They infiltrate, they put a new Congolese army with Rwandan element, with Ugandan element. In that case, in that position, anytime when Congo prepare any riposte or prepare any battle, the infiltrator will give out the information to Rwanda. That's the situation, that's the weakness which Congolese army is in. And when Congolese, they try to put aside those guys who they found the infiltrator, there is actually even a list with the UN experts have produced of a lot of officers in Congolese army whom they found out that they are collaborators to Rwanda and Uganda. But every time when Congo tried to take decision, there will be a rebellion. That's when you had CNDP, which is a precursor to M23. You see, every time when Congo tried to take measures to clean up the army, to clean up the administration, this guy, our brothers from Rwanda, who are Congolese of Rwandan origin, they will rise up, and Rwanda and Uganda will support them because they have their backers. In US, can you ask yourself? There is another guy who found it. He produced a good documentary. He was showing, like, proving actually to all people that M23 is not a rebellion. M23 is a special force. He's a Nigerian guy. His documentary is let me see, I can remember his documentary. He produced a very good documentary because he even spoke about the type of of ammunition or arms, guns which M23 possess, and the tactics which they are using. That tactics or that type of weaponry cannot be found by a rebellion group, and that's what people, guys like Skylar and Dynas, they don't wanna admit, they don't wanna understand.
But may I ask you a question then?
Yes.
Because based on your statements that you just made here, it only proves that Tshisekedi is a good leader because he's going up against what you believe to be
No,
a
he's not a good
whole
leader.
global scheme.
Hold
on. But according to you, in the book that you're mentioning, there's a whole global scheme to reinvade Congo again, according to you, right?
Yes. Yeah.
By that logic, In the 6 years in which he has been there, he has agitated and brought Congo to the forefront and the issues of the Congo to the forefront.
No,
True or
not really.
false? He
Not
has
really.
done more.
Not really. No,
He has
not
done.
really.
Hold on. He has done more to agitate than Kabila, who has been there for 20 years.
He has done a little bit. He could have done more.
So what more? What more? He has increased the army budget. He has fired generals. So what more do you believe that Tshisekedi could have done? He
Okay.
has done more to change the dynamics and
No,
put the issue on the global radar than Kabila have done in 20 years in power.
yes, on that side, he has done that a little bit. And let me explain. Do you see, for example, in the army, this is what he did. Instead of reforming the whole army, he created some brigades which are mainly composed of people from his region, from his province. And then he put, so it's like you are creating an army into the army, which is not good. That's why you saw he, instead of giving, like a retraining, instead of rehabilitating centers of training like Kibomango, Kitona, or Mura, he went and got mercenary from Romania because he was afraid. Also, people don't understand this. If he had his way, he couldn't use Romanian mercenary. He could have used probably Wagner. But because he's even afraid of his security and Congo being weak as weak, because Congo is among I can say, when it comes to intelligence, Congo is naked on intelligence. So he was a little bit wise not to go to Russia and be in abrupt agreement with Russia so that Russia can help. But he saw, when it comes to this Western power, European power, when he used their own security agency, they are not very very demanding. They are not very critical. So that's why he used Romanian. If it was me, I couldn't use Romanian. I would have rehabilitate all these centers of training which exist in Congo, like Kitona, Kibomango, Kotakoli, Mura, and then give more training and more training to Congolese army, and then pay them well. Because I have, as I said before, I have relatives who are in the army. A Congolese soldier, man, he's paid very little money, man. You cannot survive on that. So he could have done that and take part of Congolese army, which he believed, because there is a way of finding who is authentic Congolese and who is Congolese of Rwandan origin or of Ugandan. He could identify those guys and then retrain the army, reform it. Those people could have done a better job than what Romanian has done. That's one part. On diplomacy, this is another the mistake which he's been doing, because war is not only won on battlefield. War is won on information as well, and diplomacy. You can see in the most English-speaking media, people are running with Rwanda narrative. Congolese narrative is nowhere to be found. It's only activists like us who have been only trying to educate our Nigerian brothers, our African American, our Tanzanian, and showing them the truth with references so that themselves they can go. Because this is the thing: lies can be faster, but even if the truth is late, it will always shatter the lies. And that's what is happening on Congo. Like what Skylar has been, pushing, it's lies. So on diplomacy, he could have strengthened. There is Congolese diplomats who haven't been paid for a year. That is unacceptable. He could have done better than that. But in return, what he has been doing, he has been embezzling the money. You remember his first project, 100 days project. They embezzled probably $200 million. His other project, Chilejelu, in his province, they embezzled probably more than $200 million. He did the Francophonie, it was a useless project to just steal money. They spent 400, a project which could have cost $85 million US, but they said they spent $400 million US. So money was there, which this guy could have used to put Congo in better position and challenge whoever, be it Rwanda, be it Uganda. But he didn't do that. He just wanted the power for himself. So he created an army to protect him and his power into the army and went into deals. more deals with Rwanda and Uganda. That's why you can see he's not denouncing Uganda. He's only denouncing Rwanda. But Uganda is also.
Well, let me pass the mic to Inza. Go ahead, Inza. Unmute yourself. Inza, unmute yourself. NZAAA, unmute yourself. Okay, she dropped off. All right, go ahead, Uncle.
Can I ask a quick question again? Because when Tshisekedi took power, there was a deal that looked like there was on the table between DRC and Rwanda, which I was excited about because I thought, okay, these guys are gonna create their own African solution to the issue, and it fell apart. Do you know why it fell apart, and do you think that would have been a good solution, or do you believe there's a different solution to the issue?
Yeah, I remember that deal. That deal was, as I think I explained earlier on, it was for Rwanda and Congo going into joint venture into exploiting gold from Congo, and Rwanda refining that gold, and coltan being refined in Rwanda and stuff, and the Rwanda having the opportunity to service a part of Congo, like Rwanda they had installed their hub in Goma, which is part of Congo, and they were servicing Lubumbashi, Kinshasa, all this part. So at the beginning of that deal, I was against it. Me, personally, I was against it because it was like giving people who have created millions of our brother death, carte blanche, giving them access to all these, advantages in Congo. But later on, when I start, I went into discussion with other people who approach Tshisekedi, discussing and looking at the cons and pros. I was like, maybe this can be wise for the moment. So until when Congo will be able to build his army and so on. But Rwanda, again, this is what people don't know. You see, you bring up that deal. It was advantages to Rwanda and Uganda. But why Kagame went around and renegate on that deal and just support M23 so to invade Congo again? Because they have an agenda, and this is an agenda. The agenda. This you can read it in Holocaust in Congo. The guy did a great job of going even on interview which Museveni has given back in the 90s, even 2000, about what they plan. This empire in the center or in Central Africa, encompassing Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Congo, probably part of Kenya, part of Tanzania. And this was understood by former president of Tanzania, Mrisho Jakaya Kikwete. That's why in 2013, after the defeat of M23, when Kikwete suggested to Kagame that to resolve this issue is not only about Congo, it's also an issue about Rwanda. You, Kagame, should also sit down with people who oppose you, like the Kayumba Nyamwasa, the Karegeya, even some Hutus, because this is what they are trying. This communication agency, which are employed by Rwanda, has put in the minds of a lot of people in the world, especially English-speaking brothers, that all Hutus commit genocide. That is not true. Not all Hutu took part in genocide. Actually, if you read unbiased research and unbiased studies, Kagame Army, FPR, I'm giving you again reference. In Praise of Blood, the crimes of Rwandan RPF, Patriotic Front, Kagame is the one who caused the genocide, and they took part in that genocide. But none of Kagame's soldiers have been tried in the court. Why? Because this Western country who backed Kagame in the plan of invading Congo, they've been shielding them. That's why even the arrest warrant, which was issued by Spanish court, and which one of Kagame commander was arrested in England, it has no effect because this
Hey, Skyler, did Umcall answer your question?
I kind of went out for a minute, but I just had some more questions, I guess. But is that okay, Umcall?
Yes, you can answer. You can ask me a question.
Okay. You said okay, so the whole you said Kagame shot down the plane, caused a genocide. Quick question: if Madame Agatha wasn't murdered by her prisoner guard, and she came down and say, "Hey," because she was gonna go out and give a speech to calm people down. She's gonna give a speech, say, "Hey, Tutsis and Hutus were one people." Do you think if Madame Agatha wasn't murdered by her prisoner guard, would the genocide happen? Just asking you.
Okay. I already I answered that question earlier on. I don't know if you
This
didn't hear.
this is a new question. No, it's
You asked me a question. Let me answer. You see, with the temperature, with the because Rwanda, it was already on boiling point. With the situation which was already in Rwanda, because remember, they have been in war for 4 years, and the RPF killed a lot of Hutu in the northern part which they had occupied. And the other problem in Burundi, you have to, that's why I always advise people to understand all this conflict. You have to go not only on one country or two countries, you have to understand the whole context of that region. In Burundi,
but that's my question. My
answering by giving you the whole global situation. In Burundi,
no, but I'm saying yes, but you need to yes. No, but the military. No, uncle. Listen, the military took part in the. I'm saying if Madam Agatha wasn't murdered, if Madam Agatha wasn't murdered by her own military, the Hutu military, would there have been a genocide? That's my question to you. If Madam Agatha was next prime minister, what she was supposed to be, but then her own military murdered her, why would that happen?
She could listen. Huh? She couldn't. Agatha, even if the group of presidential guard which murdered her, even if they couldn't murder her, she couldn't stop what was already planned. She couldn't.
Why?
Yeah, this is the thing. Why she couldn't stop it? Because she didn't have a hold on the world military, and she didn't have a hold on Rwandan Patriotic Army, which was Kagame force. So she was just a civilian who was protected, or his mandate was protected by the UN. And the UN didn't have, a lot of military as it is in Congo right now. Because remember, the US had already, by that time, the US had already pressured the UN to pull out some force in Rwanda. And that's what people don't understand, how the whole thing was done. That's why it's important to read books or read research on this issue. Remember, in Burundi, they had killed already the Hutu president who was democratically elected.
Tutsi. It was a Tutsi, right?
The Tutsi killed the Hutu president.
Yeah. But who was the Tutsi? He was a military, right? He was a military, right?
No. He was a civilian.
He was a military. No, he was a military. He was a car of the military.
No, listen, bro. You don't know the situation. I come from that region. I've studied this issue for 10 years, and I'm trying to explain you, but you just wanna tell your own thing which you have in mind, which is no bad.
I'm not. I'm telling you, no. I'm to what happened. Yeah, and the guy was the Hutu president was killed.
That was a Hutu president of Burundi who was murdered by the Tutsi, who was the Tutsi army, because Burundi was for a long time under the Tutsi rulership.
That's my point. I want point. No. You said I lied. You just admitted it was a Tutsi army. You just admitted it was the army that killed the Hutu president. So my point,
I was a soldier. It was not a soldier. So
he was a soldier. He was a part of the army. It was a coup. The military killed the Hutu president. I want you to acknowledge that it was the military that killed the president.
Yes.
You acknowledge that.
In Burundi, I'm talking about.
And in Rwanda, the military killed the president, because guess what happens? The military kills their own president.
I let you.
It's easy. No, bro. Go.
Give me time to answer. I'll answer any question you have.
No, I'm trying because you're trying to move away. You're trying to be deceptive here. I'm just trying to let everybody know what happened. I said the Hutu president in Burundi was killed by a Tutsi. I acknowledge there were Tutsi that killed certain Hutus, but there was the military. The Tutsi man that killed the Hutu president was in the military. The military is close to the president because it's the military. So if you're the president or head of state, it's very likely you're going to get killed by your own military because you're close with the military. That makes sense. The same thing happened in Rwanda. You keep making it some big mystery who killed the president of Rwanda. It was the military that killed the president of Rwanda. That's why the military killed the prime minister, and then they went to go kill the female president. That makes sense. That's logical. You're saying it's not logical. You're saying it's perfectly capable that the military can kill their own president in Burundi, but it's not possible that the military killed their own president in Rwanda. Even though the military killed the president in Rwanda, you're saying it's impossible, that it's a big conspiracy that the military killed the prime minister, that the military shot down that plane.
All right. I'll answer this by giving you.
Hey, guy, let me pass it to Shaw because Shaw's been patiently ready. Go ahead, Shaw. Unmute yourself.
So I'm listening, and I think it's veering from the point. I don't know. You guys have maybe changed into a
Yeah,
different
yeah, yeah,
direction.
yeah. Like I said, whenever it comes to this topic, it's Kagame, 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 Kagame. Well, no, Shaw, I'm sorry. Finish your statement.
So yeah, that's a point that you're making, that it's Kagame,
Yeah,
right?
it's Kagame, 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 Kagame. And it's like, damn, where's Congolese leadership? Where's the people? I mean, Jesus. Go ahead, Shaw.
But when you look at it all in the complicitness of Kagame or Rwanda, Kagame, in that they're able to get those resources through his country into the world through his country. Um, China's the biggest benefiter of the resources, but they're doing it through the government, or so-called dysfunctional government. Um, but I think that if you look at Uganda, Rwanda, and they're all in it together. And while all this,
We lost you.
so I got to watch my screen. It sleeps on me. I have to continue. I don't know how to stop that. But anyway, what I was saying was that those three countries are complicit, and that no matter how much war and turmoil, the resources never stop coming out of there. So that lets you know that wherever they're coming, well, it's not even where. We do know that they're coming out of those three countries. The resources from Eastern Congo are coming out. But what's going to be the game changer is this new deal that when Biden was in Luanda, Angola, he made a deal with the president there to build a railroad through this into the southern part of Congo. And so they're going to start moving that stuff, a large amount of it, through this railroad line from southern Congo, southeastern Congo, through into Angola port. So that's going to be some other shit that's going to happen. It's going to change the game. But I mean, in actuality, we can't really point the finger at only Kagame or only Cheesecake. I mean, Tshisekedi. Um, that they're all in it together, really. And it's unfortunate because the people are the ones that are dying and being displaced, running from bombs. They live off their land, so their diet is very precarious. I mean, that diet, they eat, their subsistence living people. So when you move them a little bit, they can't get their food because they're getting it from their farms and stuff. So this is why 6 million of them died for some other stuff that happened. Six
Bro,
million people died from between 1990 and 2000
Yeah.
because of other stuff. Go ahead.
And
look,
more
let
than
me
that,
this is my brother from, I think it's from Congo.
yes, I'm from Congo.
That's good. You see, all African leaders have the problem your country leader also have. They're nastily corrupt. When you get corrupted in everything, when you sleep, you think about Versace glass,
Not
you
true.
think about mosquito perfume,
What kind of perfume?
you know. No,
Are you saying? Hey, hold on. Are you saying the president of Congo they dream about mosquito?
oh yes, because that's what they all think about, you know. So that's what you see in the country that don't want to really govern their people well, feed them well. They want to pack all the money and don't actually go to the rural areas that would defend the country, establish good education, pay salary, do everything. It's not only Congo is having this problem. Some
Right.
most African countries are they are they
And
are
this has been
literally,
happening for generations, my brother, right?
yeah.
Because
So
those young, those
go
those
on, brother.
generations have been going to school, but they've been sending their kids to Yale and Cambridge and Stanford, and they're used to this lifestyle. This aristocracy or oligarchs, they're used to this. This is maybe a couple of generations of this going on. In the Western world, like what is it? General Langley sat in front of the Foreign Committee and said, the committee people said, we are looking forward to Africa is very important for our future and our interests. And you know, we're really, you know, because he's reporting, Africa Command's reporting to this board of people, right? So he says, so the person says, so how are we going to achieve to continue our interest in Africa? He said, we got this. You know, basically he said, we got this. We're going to do it through our partners, which means they're going to do it through who? Kufuor, through Kagame, through Museveni, through
Yeah.
Tshisekedi, and we can go on and on and on, and who they're going to do it through their partners. That's the, what is that? That's not the Global Fragility. That's another thing. The Global Fragility Act is
Yeah.
another thing.
Yeah, but my brother, knowing that, us as African or Pan-African who we want the betterment or development of Africa, do we have to support guys like those one, especially those who are causing the killings of millions? Do we have to be?
No, but don't. I mean, it's not to point out the finger to just about Kagame. It's
No.
not just him. And
Yeah.
no, we're not supposed to. Well, what is that? You know, we're not supposed to
My,
support
my,
that.
my say son though, with Kagame, in my opinion, he's been there. Him, Museveni, been there the longest. These guys should be brokering deals because I think between Congo and Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, that's over 400 different tribes, right? Why aren't these guys not sitting down and creating their own pacts, their own deals, in which they can maximize and create peace in the
Because of
East?
what
That's
we
my
just
main point.
said.
I love
We just
Kagame,
said
but I
why
feel
they're
like
not.
he's
Hey guys, let me
no,
pass
but
the mic to Enza. Go ahead, Enza.
Hello, brothers here. Oh, yeah, Prince Dynasty. Thank you so much for letting me also have a word here. And I really thank you for, doing this. I've been following the last days, and it's good to catching it up this time. So, yes, I appreciate that all the brothers are here giving their thought for the Congo. And I think it's time for us to sit down as the brothers and to really rewrite.
Yeah, we lost him. Prince P and Law, go ahead.
yeah, that was just my main point. Like, if you look at the Berlin Conference, all these conferences, the G20, that's European nations predominantly creating their own pacts and their own solutions to different issues. Why is the African Union, especially a president like that's why I'm disappointed in Kagame. He's like like him and Mr. Vinny are presidents that have been here for over 20, 30 years, allowing confusion and division to create a toxic element in the East, which hurt trade, which hurt into connective trade amongst African nations. And these guys should be the forefront leaders in creating a vision for Africa moving forward. They're not doing that. And that's my issue with Kagame. Kagame is in many cases a hero to the black race in many ways, but so I understand where people coming from when they celebrate him, etc. He has reached out to Nigeria, Haiti. I think he flew out senators from Haiti to go to the Rwanda to learn about the different diplomacies and different elements of which the tactics in which they could use.
But
They didn't
isn't
use
he
it
the
though.
only
But
country that wanted the Israel to be a listener in the AU? And
Yeah.
doesn't they have a
was he
don't
the
they have
only?
a alliance, some type of, aren't
Yes.
they
Yes.
allies with Israel?
Yes. He's an Israeli
So
guy. Yeah.
say no
No,
more after
but so
that.
was he the only? What make you think he was
He
the
was
only? The main
He was
country
the
that stood
president.
out
He
was
was the
South
president,
Africa,
and he's the one who
that
was
was against
pushing.
it.
Yeah, Kagame was the president of AU that time, and he was the one who was pushing it.
pushing for
Yeah,
Israel
but
to be a
was
listener.
he the only nation? Was he the only nation that was pushing for it or in agreement
No,
with it?
no, it wasn't him only, but you have to look who they were, who was pushing it really harder, and who the Israeli actually were using and why. That's the thing, because other nation, when it comes to
True.
this powerful country like EU or Western country and Israel, now they will be coerced due to maybe financial incentives or military equipment, but you
Yeah,
look at
brother.
the
Can I
name
can I
and
say
why.
something?
Okay.
Yes. Well, I'm listening. It's a very amazing and a very intellect discussion. But there's so much intellect in this discussion. This is not time for this. We need to also start now. Things about the Congo. It's very critical, and we all know that it's all about the mineral that is for the Congo. And we, the Congolese, we are open to share this all mineral for all humanity. That's all right. But what Kagame have done in Africa, it's been decades. It's
Yeah, bro, you got to call in on a different device. You keep going out. Go.
Is he still there? I want to know his solution because they keep trying to make it seem like they're trying to save humanity, but they're not looking towards a united pack created amongst Africans.
But
So
they
what is the
have a
solution?
East African
No, no,
communities.
no.
They've got a
What I mean,
South African SADC. So we have these regional groups. East
I,
African communities includes the
yeah,
Congo,
I'll
I
ask
and
you.
wanted
they're
to
I'll ask
and,
say,
you to
and
clarify
they're
that.
not doing anything.
I'll
Like
also
I
clarify
should say,
that.
they're not doing enough.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
what I
Zah,
mean, I
go ahead.
wanted to say, there's even brother who mentioned that you need to look at the history of the Congo. You know the history of the Congo. We know we're not gonna go there to Berlin stuff that has been happening, and we hear there's a lot of people say, okay, Congolese, they are not fighting. Why not fighting back? Why Rwanda is very small? Why are you not pushing this and that? Uh, we need to understand that it's not only Rwanda. You know how many. The time we have been fighting since the 60s, let's just say the time of Lumumba passing as well,
Time
and
since
until now,
Leopold, y'all been
there
fighting.
is a lot of
Yeah, if I can help him, it's that he was trying to probably to explain that how since the time of
They've
Lumumba,
been fighting since Queen Njinga when she was
yeah,
fighting the Portuguese. Come on, we never
yeah,
stopped fighting. We've
yeah.
been
So
fighting from the beginning. Go
yeah, the
ahead.
difference is, if you look at the history of Congo, you'll find that
my
Congolese
phone go to
actually
sleep in time. I'm
they've
gonna call
spent
back later.
you're gonna see that Congolese spent probably 50% of the time of our country fighting wars. Like
That's right.
the
And
time the time when Tafikram
the
sent
resilience that
Congo.
many of
Yes,
you not maybe seeing, it's okay. We the victory of the Congo is inevitable. That we should remember that. And the Congo is in the heart of the world, and it's open to contribute for all
for
humanity.
business.
We don't have a problem about our minerals, about all those things, but we have to
Congolese
understand.
don't eat
I've been
minerals.
listening a lot of brothers here. They are, oh, Congolese like this. Oh, you're not fighting and all that. You know how many people are behind Rwanda? It's not only Rwanda, and how many equipment they have. But
Nations,
with the one we still have, but we're still fighting about. Now I'm gonna cut just a minute here. I'm gonna say about this the title, as you say, Tshisekedi, and we need to also to see the perspective. We need to understand one thing here. Kagame have been really, being in that power and all lie about well, I can't just say lie, but of course bring his word of genocide around the world and create that persona. We understand. And he have been there for decades. You have seen at the time of Mobutu passed, Kabila, and then in the other Kabila, which we think he's been a double agent because he's a Tutsi. And then now we have Tshisekedi. Tshisekedi, we don't say he's doing all good. No. But we think that if Kagame today has been come out of his, that position, he's uncomfortable. Just look at the brother, this Kagame brother. He's not really happy. He's not really. Just observe him as a human being. Like it's a blood money, and it's okay. Regarding the solution is what we're doing already here.
So
This conversation,
you
this
from the
table, it's
Congo?
already
You from
wonderful.
Congo? You from Congo?
I'm from Egypt. I was born in the
You from
Congo, and
Egypt? Okay.
live in South Africa for many years. And I
Okay.
think we in Africa really, Congo, Ghana, or these places. I think we have to remember one thing. In every African brother where he is right now, since the early war that happened in Egypt, as us, the Kemet, we have been moved into the south and through the Congo until everything that's been happening. But the new revolution, even when you hear South Africa, it's also entering in this war. It was inevitable because when you are in South Africa, you see a lot of brothers from all around Africa, and South Africa receiving all those pain at the time. So why not South Africa contribute for peace in Africa, and all our minerals and all what we have, we can really bring our continent higher? Why not? So the things
Well, the
about
thing is
Kagame,
why? they got so much problems in South Africa that they're dealing with. It's why, and to me, it should be a regional thing. It should SADC and East African communities together. Those two regional groups together should get together and decide what the best thing to do for the problems of Congo and the problems of everywhere, of all of the countries. But they're not going to do that because they're not revolutionary. They're not even trying to be in that mode of taking their shit back. That's because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about they need to do what the AES has done and is doing. And if anything shorter than that, is going to just be a big shit show.
No, you're right, brother. It's a very interesting perspective. When we've been seeing about our politicians, and it's very sad because we have copy and paste something which is not deep into our unity as African, our culture, our spirituality, our intellect. So we paste it in Africa somewhere, and then you were like 5 years. Okay, you're gonna build this, or you're gonna build that. What the hell? We need really leaders who can,
May I ask a question?
But
Because
Yeah, you can ask. But let me to add the brothers, as African, I don't think that our ways should be the way of the barbarics, barbarian, this Caucasian. I don't think that we should praise two brothers going into war. Of course, we know that every country has to protect itself, has to build its military. But I feel like it's an African to praise and support a guy who is bellicose like Paul Kagame. Although we need to hold Tshisekedi and the leadership of
accountable.
Congo
Correct.
accountable.
Yes.
But I don't think that it's good to praise a guy who is so bellicose all these years, because now we have M23. I assure you, whatever solution will come up, if Rwanda and our brother Banyarwanda don't get a land in Congo where they will be ruling others, they will down the years, they will still provoke another war, because that their agenda. And unfortunately, they said proof, the same people that did wrong are telling a different version of the story, and they are playing victim. I quote, our brothers, they are telling a story which is not true. And I've seen a lot of Africans, falling for this.
Ubwenge.
So, but here's the question, though. Here's the big question, and the elephant in the room. You ready? You ready for the big question? The big question is, what's going to happen to the money, the resources, as M23 is doing what they're doing? Who's going to control the money? Where's the money going? Where's the resources going? Who's getting that money? Because all of this stuff is about this money. Those 120 different mercenary groups are formed to protect the little mines and shit. So everybody's talking about, people are talking about revolution, M23 being a freedom fighter group, FDLR is runaways from the genocide, and Tshisekedi's doing the wrong thing, yet nobody's really talking about where the money's going.
Nobody,
and who's getting the money.
Yes.
Let me mention that something. It's not anymore. It's not anymore 150 group of army, as they're saying it. Some of those warriors, they have joined. That's what we're calling them now today. Wazalendo. There we go. So the FDLR situation, story of Kagame, it's no longer work. It's a past story. Or we're following everyone. Some of they're gonna come to genocide back again here. Those stories, the whole world is now awakened about that. We have been screaming the world.
You're playing games, and you're not seeing it for what it is. Because while all this death and all of this shit is going on, money is not stopping. It's continuing to release. So if you're revolutionary,
just make your question very clear.
My point is this: if M23 is going to be, they need to take control of all the money leaving. They need to be the one and only dealers of the mines in their area that they can take. But they're not going to do that, meaning that the white folks got to pay them directly.
Let me answer this question. Can I answer this question with experience and reference of what happened before, when the RCD was controlling that area again? This is what happened, and this is what people have to be open and understand what is going on in Rwanda. Do you see M23? Every area where they are controlling, the mines which they are controlling, of course, they are exploiting that mines. it's going to Rwanda. And I'll give you a scoop. If you read even David Imbara, he wrote on this. In Rwanda, there is this company called Christian. It's a like financial group. Crystal Venture is owned by Paul Kagame. Actually, it's a Paul Kagame company, but they put it as if it's owned by his party, RPF. Crystal Venture probably control maybe 70 or more than that. Every business in Rwanda is controlled by that financial institution, Crystal Venture, and they are the one who are now dealing in the mines wherever M23 is, has occupied. So that's the thing. When you ask about the SADC and East African country, that's where I've had a problem. As I've told you, I've introduced myself here. I'm originally from Kivu. So I was born in Bukavu, grew up partly in Goma and Uvira. So I know all that area, and I've been to Rwanda, Burundi, so I know this area. This is another thing which people don't see when they say that like when it comes to money and stuff and the borders and stuff, it's not true that when the border of Congo and Rwanda were established, that there was a Banyarwanda in Congo. That's a lie which Rwanda has been running with, and because the Congolese government being what it is, they've never actually mount a counter to count that. Because yes, there are many places on border of Congo with other nation where there is people of on both sides. For example, in the north, the Alur are in Uganda and they are in Sudan. On the south, the Babemba are in Zambia and they're in Congo. The last time I gave the example of Congo Kingdom. But as there is no rule with no exception, when you come to Uvira, for example, my parents, they come from Bavira and Bafuliru ethnic groups. Those groups are not in Burundi, and the Barundi from that side they were not found in Congo. But later on with colonization, the colonizer, the Belgian, took workers, because after they've killed, Leopold II have killed a lot of Congo. You remember, if you've read the history of Congo, probably 10 million of Congolese at that time in the 1890 already. He brought some migrant workers from Burundi and from Rwanda. And this is how our brothers from Burundi and from Rwanda, they start coming into Congo. Actually, when you read the Convention of 1910, because this is the document that established the border between Congo and Rwanda, you will see that there will be, precursor to this convention, they were claimed by Germany and the King of Rwanda to get into Rwanda the other Congolese land. And those land, they are today Kishenyi, as I explained, which means in Kirundi, place to get fire.
So what's your overall point?
My point is this: as you ask for solution, it was a mistake for Tshisekedi to take Congo into East African community at this point. Not like in the future, but at that point, like when he did it in 2019, 2020, it was too early. And that's why most of us guys from eastern part of Congo, we were against that decision, because it was too early. Congo had to be beefed up militarily, because with the charter of East African community and the way our Congo is, it was fragile. We knew that this issue will come up, and Congo will have difficulty get out of this situation, and that's what is going on.
But may I add to that point real quick though, because I think it was a chess move, that way he could bring Rwanda to the East African courts. The East African courts.
All right, go ahead, JA. AD, go ahead. Ja, go ahead. Okay. Johnny Numbani, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Appreciate it, Dynasty. Thanks for the platform, man.
Oh, no problem.
So yeah, I kind of caught it a little bit late, but kind of what I was hearing, man, from the title and everything, and them trying to make the point. Again, man, I think there's a lot of diplomatic solutions that we kind of can talk about. It's kind of going a lot towards, sound like it's asking for war and stuff, man, and like annexing. But they kind of denied, Rwanda denied that they was looking to annex anything from Congo, and that they're supposedly just looking for stability. I mean, obviously, I don't really believe that, but with USA being pulled from the area and people looking to invest, I feel like what Rwanda is about to do and is trying to do, is about to destabilize probably all of East Africa, just with the move that they're getting ready to make. It's undermining the African Union, and it's undermining East Africa altogether. So I mean, just I don't know. I see it as a big issue, and it's like, yeah, man.
What
Somebody, I
does
don't.
USAID have to do with anything?
I'm just saying, people getting ready to invest. They're getting ready to make moves and stuff. And now that aid money is gone and withdrawn, and people are going to be more dependent on their own governments. And their governments are not going to be able, I don't think, to handle it necessarily right off the bat.
Johnny, these Africans weren't really. This USA aid money was barely even. The African people were barely even seeing it.
Yeah, the people, true, but I'm saying it's going to be even worse now that it's getting that even the elected officials are not going to be seeing that money either. So they're going to be looking kind of more, I don't want to say desperate, but in a rougher situation.
And they should be looking more toward trying to control their resources and get a fair market value for it, or improving the value of those resources. But they're not, because the Western world wants to keep them at a certain level of infrastructure, just enough for them to pull that stuff out, but not enough for them to develop the resources that they have. Never.
Right.
So that's where they want to keep us.
I agree. They definitely need to be looking more into what they did in Burkina Faso, where they're looking more into having value-added products, right?
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. They should be able to do refineries of crude oil like they did in Nigeria. They should be able to refine the uranium as well in the Congo. But I'm saying that when people want to try to lay claim to this, that is from the actual continent, that's going to cause destabilization, though. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, it's already a mess anyway.
No,
and
but it's a big difference between the mess, kind of like underhanded, militia groups and all out war. So,
If I can
here's the thing, though, and I'll land with this point. Let me land with this point, that if it's so bad to where they can't get the resources out, then the Western world will intercede. They're going to go in. As long as they can get the resources out, they're going to push whatever is going to be good for that, which is keep them destabilized, keep them from building their infrastructure too much, keep them tribalizing, at odds with each other. It's the Tutsi. We've been here forever. Keep it a tribal thing. Keep them greedy and wanting the oligarchs in position. As long as you can keep all those things going, it makes it easy for them to get the resources out.
Yeah, there
so
is
let me ask you this.
That
Go
I
ahead,
saw
Paul,
in the chat. There is two questions that I saw in the chat, and I would like to explicit, because one guy was saying that the Banyamulenge, the so-called Banyamulenge have been decades in Congo and so on. And this is the what can I say, the lie which have been propagated, which have been spread out there, because there is even some prominent African whom, if you don't know the background of why they say that, you run with that lie. That is not true. Because remember, as I said in another program, Congo didn't start in 2000. Of course, they are our brother. They have Congolese citizenship. But when it comes to ethnic citizenship or being authentic or origin of Congolese, because this is the thing, they start coming in the mass. Actually, in mass, they start coming in the 1959. But of course, in the 1900s, like in 1910, 1920, I come from Uvira, and I know their history very well, because our grandparents, they are the one who welcomed them, and they are the one who introduced to. Actually, we used to be friends. We used to live with them. Some of them used to live in our lands. They used to take care of our cattle. So we know them.
We still live in friends today with many brothers.
Yes,
from
and we
Rwanda.
see brothers. So, but they are trying to lie. And if you don't know where to find the resources, I would recommend anybody go on YouTube and found this lecture. This guy is a PhD in peace building, and he gave the lecture here in the US about this issue. Banyamulenge, you can find it's on YouTube. Banyamulenge, the truth of the matter. Then you're gonna see all the geographers, all the historians who have done research before this conflict, before 1950s, before 1990, and they wrote on this. Actually, even themselves, before the 1996, they used to call themselves Banyarwanda. When they come to, because actually they are good, because they are good on cattle farming and milk and the cheese making. When they were coming in the city to sell.
Sorry, bro. Are you gonna address my comment though, or no?
I will address it.
And what's your point? What's your point overall? What's your point? Because
Yeah,
you
that's what
talk
I'm
about
saying.
these ethnic groups.
That's what I'm saying. Omar, you be all over the place, man. I just be losing you.
No, I was trying to explain. I saw the question. Somebody in the chat spoke about that. Why I wanted to answer it and give clarification that they are originally from Rwanda. It's like today, Mexican. Let's say if US didn't take Texas and part of California, but now today, because there is some Mexican here in US who are illegally, and US is trying to deport them, does Mexican have the right to take up arms and say, no, now we need citizen, all Mexican in US who are illegal, we need group citizenship. Otherwise, we're gonna fight the US. And later on, because let's imagine that US wasn't this strong, and Russia.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, bro. You're
Yes.
basically saying that there's people with ethnic backgrounds that is across borders. We understand that.
Yeah. So yeah.
May I ask a question?
Yes, please, man. I'm
Um,
sorry.
Yeah, but even does that hurt Congo by not simply just acknowledging them as citizens, not even as original Congolese, but just simply as citizens, and create a new pact to create peace in that region? Isn't that not holding back peace in that region, in Goma and Kivu and all these kind of regions?
If I can answer it,
Because there's multiple tribes outside the
yes. Yeah, this is the problem. The problem is not their citizenship. They actually, Congo acknowledge them as a citizen. You see? But that is not, that they are using that as an alibi. That is not the issue. Now, when it comes to the land issue, because Congo has more than 455 ethnic groups, right? There is no land which is empty, which is not occupied. And when it comes to Congolese way of looking at this issue and the land, Congolese land belongs to, they say it belongs to the state, but it still belongs to those ethnic group who occupied this land since the centuries. Some it's in the 10th century, some is the 13th centuries.
And they took us and we're coming back too. And we're coming back to the Congo. That's where most of us came from the Congo, and we're coming back. And when we're coming back, we're not putting up with this bullshit going on. Y'all got the care of it.
So is he trying to say that we need to redraw lines or what? Are you trying to say?
No. What I'm saying, my answer to that question is that our brothers of Rwandan origin, they are acknowledged in Congo as citizens. But the problem is this: it's come to loyalty. Where is their loyalty? When it comes to any problem, their loyalty is not to Congo. Their loyalty is anywhere in all these two countries where there will be a leadership which is of their.
That's some tribal bullshit you're doing. Right. Anytime I hear the Eastern Congolese come in, here they come with some tribal stuff. It ain't about Bayulenges and Tutsis. And that line was drawn in Berlin in the conference. That's some bull stuff. That's some bullshit, right? So we need to get that out, and we need to make it no borders at all, right? We need to get rid of the borders, and we need to be revolutionary about our approach to do it. Otherwise,
guys, real quick. So I have to go get my son. You guys can keep rocking. I'll be back in like 40 minutes, or we can end the show.
Yeah.
No, come back in 40 minutes. We'll come back in
40 minutes.
Okay, all right, I'll be right back.
Brother Shai, do you see? And this is if you discount it's not ethnic. When it comes to Congolese side, it's not about ethnic issue.
We never had problem with.
We never had.
We have almost 450 tribes, and it's not an issue for us. Every tribe they feel,
so are y'all saying that
all around the country?
But when it comes to our brother now from Rwanda, that's where it is ethnic, and that's where if you don't understand their mindset, you'll be lost. You're not gonna know. That's why all the solution which the UN have tried. And the AU, even I'm telling you, if they don't tackle what actually is on agenda of Banyarwanda, you see, that's why they have now problem with even Tanzania, because Tanzanian they've understood what's their agenda. And Burundi, do you see, Skylar tried to dismiss the president of Burundi, but that guy, because he's from Burundi and they've had, they are brothers, and they are from same ethnic group, Tutsi and Hutu, and he's a Hutu. He understands the issue, because this is historical. I will tell you something else.
And before you tell us something else, let me ask you about the optics of the big media optics of Goma, and everybody's cheering, and it's a whole bunch of people in the street. It looks like thousands and thousands of people are
Yes,
in the street in Goma
yes.
because M23 is a liberation
No,
army, and they're
no, it's not true.
concerned with. So tell
No.
me what's that all about?
Okay, that is like a survival tactic, because when we go back to history, like the last time when M23 occupied Goma, they committed a lot of massacres, and there's some part of Kivu, some part of North Kivu. They killed a lot of people because people were resisting them. And when you go back even to when the precursor of M23, which is CNDP, when they occupied Bukavu, they raped women, they raped a lot of people, they killed people because people were they were resisting them. So now this time, people of Goma, what they've done, I've talked to some of my family and they've told me this. They had no choice because now a lot of people, they've seen what happened, all these millions of people who have been killed, and Congo has never been afforded justice, even at the UN. Every time the US block it, they've decided, let's act like we are for them. And that's why they were, like in the street with them, they are cooperating because people don't want to be killed in their thousands again. But despite that, you understand that they've been targeting especially traditional chief and other people who were in organization, like women organization, any organization which was there to open people's eyes, to denounce them before they've massacred those people.
So you're saying then that what we saw with thousands of people being photographed and cheering and on this M23 leader is because they're afraid that they're going to be killed and raped? That's why they were cheering and all those people were there? Is that what you're saying?
This is true. And it's not my family. I spoke to people in Goma. That's what they told. You see, like in the stadium, when they call people in the stadium, there was an audio going around in WhatsApp. I have that audio. It's in Swahili. If you knew Swahili and I had your contact, I can send you a lot of information. What is going on? They obliged people. They told people, actually, whoever is not going to present himself to the stadium is going to see what we're going to do with him. That's why people were even afraid. They were like, hey, we don't.
I'm not buying that. I'm not buying it, bro.
Yeah, I like to see the citation on that, bro.
I could believe that. I could believe that.
Yes.
Nah, I mean the way that looked.
I have the audio, bro. I have the audio.
Are you talking about the former leader?
If the army is as weak as he says, and those type of groups have strong power and control over those areas, that could be a defense mechanism to avoid being viewed as the opposition. Because even in Haiti, where I'm from, certain people there, they don't support the criminals and the bandits and those thugs. It's basically they're in the region, in the area. They feel like maybe the police don't have enough strength to stay in those areas, so they act neutral, but they don't really like the criminals. You see what I'm saying? They don't really like the rebels or whatever whatever you call the people in Congo, but in our country, they're viewed as thugs and criminals, bandits.
That would be like the gang leaders having a big rally, and all of the people that don't like them would show up to the big rally, and they would be cheering them, and you would be catching them cheering. All the people are cheering. The leaders of the rally are the gangs, and the gangs represent everybody. That's what to me is the equivalent to what we saw if M23 is really a liberation army that's going to make its way into Kinshasa and take over Kinshasa.
Okay, let me answer to that. As you said, for example,
but hold on, can I ask you? Let me ask you a question real quick, because you said you're from Goma, right? Because technically, they're partially right. There's other groups that does exist that are against the government that stands at the moment. Do you believe they created coalitions among themselves to oppose Tshisekedi? Because that could be another entity too. So if maybe they don't support M23, but they support another group, because even in my country, I think there was a guy a couple years back. He went to Haiti and he was a part of a group that believed that he basically was going to create a new kingdom, or recreate a kingdom that once exists. I can send you the article in the back chat, but you might know. I sent it to my Congo friend. He knew who he was, but he came to Haiti and he was basically like, even half my DNA is Congo, so he know that okay, there's Congolese people in Haiti, people of Congolese descent. Yeah. So he went there. And he was a part of the opposition of Congo, because a lot of people, like you said, don't necessarily support Tshisekedi, and they view Tshisekedi only getting power from either coalitions or because of who his father was, because his father was once a part of the opposition. So do you think there's a growing coalitions being created in those regions against.
Yeah. So that's where I said that's where Tshisekedi, I don't like him because he failed to create, because he had already divided. He had divided the Congolese before the M23 take Goma, but during all this time, since 2019, when he came to power, he did stuff and he was behaving in the manner of that frustrated a lot of Congolese and the people. That's why we are. Nous sommes déçus avec Tshisekedi. Nous sommes déçus because we are, we are disappointed because we didn't believe a guy who is the son of a opposition leader like him could behave the way how Tshisekedi is behaving. So there is a lot of people are not for Tshisekedi, but again, knowing who is behind M23, with the past experience of Rwandan occupation of some city like Goma, Bukavu, and even when they installed Laurent Desire Kabila, because Kabila didn't bring the Rwandan and Uganda, they are the one who brought him. With that experience, Congolese, they are not supporting neither M23 with Nanga, and we are reluctant to support also Tshisekedi, but we are supporting the army of Congo. That's why you hear
And Rwanda and Uganda brought Mobutu too, right?
No. They brought Laurent Desire Kabila.
I'm being facetious right now. I know that they didn't, but I'm saying that to say, and I don't know enough to push back against that statement. That again, we're putting our people, our puppets, in a position of like they are really making things happen and doing things. When in actuality, it is the Western world who's the puppet masters and making all these plans in their think tanks in Europe and United States,
yes.
And then they pay these mercenaries to carry out their work.
Yes,
so
but to answer that, why we need to hold them accountable, it's because to some extent they are the one who decide. They have some freedom to accept that deal or to refuse it. And now it's different than 2000. Now it's different than 1990, because right now, do you see what our brother in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger they did? Because now the world is not unipolar geostrategically. Geostrategically, the world is tending towards multipolar world. So there is other power which are capable of protecting them if they refuse that deal. You see, and that's where I'm blaming Kagame, because today in 2024 or 2021, he could go into a win-win partnership with Congo, whatever Tshisekedi was suggesting him. And whenever his handler comes back or come around, advising to invade Congo again, he could refuse and be protected because Rwanda.
Well, how's that going to work when Tshisekedi is in the pocket of somebody of a Western world? And I'm saying this without proof per se, but I would say this: if Tshisekedi was really doing some revolutionary things, Kinshasa and Congo wouldn't be looking like it is now.
Yeah, no, Tshisekedi.
Hold on. Tshisekedi only been in power for 6 years.
Yeah.
Kabila been in power for over 20 years. Why everybody attacking Tshisekedi? I don't get that. That's why I even jumped on.
What is he doing? Look how long Traore's been in power. Now let's compare Traore and even Goita or Ticini.
Yeah,
we could take Ticini and Niger. We could look at what Niger was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and where they are today.
Sure. And the difference is that the army of Burkina Faso or Mali, of Niger, was not infiltrated like Congolese army is, or the world security apparatus. That's the difference. And the difference is that I don't think that Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, they have been in war for 20 years with a neighboring country. You see? That's the difference.
They've been in war with fucking France. What are you talking about? France has occupied them since the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization in 1940 with Charles de Gaulle. What are you talking about? They've been at war with the Western world since before the 40s. So when we talk about the Sahel, the only difference is that they had enough balls to say, you know what, we ain't going nowhere. And the young people is like done. They're tired of it. And that's what it has to happen in all over Africa.
Can you give me a name of a country that occupy Burkina Faso or Mali or Niger
France.
Since 1996. Hold on. Since
No,
1996
France.
to 2000. Come on.
Let me tell you
Come on.
why. Because you know what the you know what the agreements are for the continuation of the pact for the continuation of colonization. Do you know what the agreements are?
Yeah, I know those
That's an
agreements. But
occupy. Their military, they can't have any other military other than France's military in their country. They have to be trained. Their military has to be trained by France. All big infrastructure projects, the French corporations get first right of refusal. Their money has to be kept and printed, half of their reserves of their central bank in France. That's an occupy.
Yeah, but it's not at the same level like the way how things which were done in Congo. That's what you need to understand, because
Same thing.
The army
Same
of
thing.
It's
what
not.
are we talking about, y'all?
It's not the same. But of course, I will give credit to our brother EAS. If for me, I consider if Congo we can get a leader, like one of those, like a Traore or Assimi Goïta, of course Congo can do better. But the situation is not the same.
I hear you. There are differences in particulars about it, but at the end of the day, the same, pretty much the same.
In Congo is even with more, is with some
Okay.
add-ons. In Congo
All
is
right.
with some add-ons. That's the issue.
Right. So, but there's a common thread through all of them, and a common thing going on with all of them. So the former French colonies all have to keep their money in France, half their reserves in France.
Congo is not a former French colony. It's a former Belgian colony, and before that, they had deals with Portuguese. It was never a French colony. They speak French
Okay.
because of Belgium,
They just
not
speak
because of
French.
France.
They
It's
just
not the
speak
same
French.
thing. There were
Right.
different empires at ancient times.
And
So if you
Brazzaville,
go back
Congo,
to
and Brazzaville, Congo.
Yeah, they were French colony. They were French colony.
Okay, and they split y'all up. I was in the Congo in 1986, and and my teachers were saying how their family members is across the river,
That's
and
correct.
how they divided them. When I was there, physically there, African American in the Congo in 1986, they were lamenting or complaining about how their families have been split up across the river, and they told me some other stuff. Now my teacher's in his probably 70s now. And so, as a young guy, he's telling me from his generation the things that they did to them. And so, it doesn't matter whether it's Belgians or French. They're in cahoots together. They're working together to do the shit that they've done to us. Go ahead.
Yeah. And again, like what you were saying, yes, that's the difference. Like all these guys who colonized Africa, they work together, and they collaborate. Like whenever you see. This is what I always say. Like even in this issue, you see the war which happened in Rwanda in 1990. It was America. Actually, this you can find it even the Secretary of Commerce of then administration in the 1990, Ron Brown. He said this when he went to Ghana. He said now the U.S. is not gonna let only European, especially France, itself deal. Those zone de control or zone of influence of France. The U.S. is gonna get in. And that's from that time, that when the war as I've explained again, you can read this even in the Garrison issue of the second Garrison issue 002 of July, June, and August of 2019. Garrison is the magazine of deep politics and history. You're going to understand even how the U.S. was involved in this. So that war in Rwanda was U.S. fighting or kicking out France in that zone of influence, and that was a stepping stone into Congo. And now they are using, our brothers, and using even France to some extent, and Belgium. They are sometimes the subcontractor of the U.S. interests in this region. That's why me, as a Pan-African, I would love us Congolese and our brothers in Rwanda to settle our issue peacefully than letting people die, because I think in an African way,
me too.
do it. In an African way, we can do it, but I don't think that our brothers, especially their leader, is not all the Rwandan though. It's a political leadership of Rwanda.
So could I ask you something on that note, bro?
Yes.
So I'm here in Tanzania now, in Dar es Salaam, and last couple of days the traffic has been real heavy because a lot of the diplomats from around have been coming to visit.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be trying to work on peace talks and things like this out here. What do you think can come out of this, like to be peaceful, to meet a resolution that will actually put an end to the fighting and resolve the conflicts? I know it's been going on since Congo basically has been independent, but like at this point, I mean, you sound like you know a lot. You refer to a lot of books and stuff. You seem to be
I know
well
a lot.
read.
I know a lot because
Okay, all right. But
I cannot-
go ahead, take it.
So this what will happen. Of course, yes, the EAC or East African Community Meeting, joint meeting with SADC, which is the organization that since the beginning I wanted Congo to strengthen his relationship with, because that the organization which Congo belongs to. There is another organization that people don't hear a lot because it's been weakened. Is a Central African country of Central African organization, regional organization, which it has been weakened because the powerful, they want business to be towards the East African. Okay, they recommend Congo to hold talks with they call it governmental entities and non-governmental entities. It means to continue talk with Rwanda and negotiation with M23. This is a deja vu. This is what will happen. It will happen that there will be negotiations and Congo will be forced to accept the reintegration of those war criminals who are in so-called M23, and Rwanda will inject again some youthful, because those who they injected in the 1998 and 2003, you can imagine they are a little bit older now. They will inject some youthful, younger Rwandan military force and security personnel in the Congolese army and Congolese security force, and probably some in administration, economy, and so on. But so that is not going to solve the issue, though. As you can
say, it's going to be what's going to make peace, bro. The thing that's going to make peace is revolution. That's it. And people got to be ready to be tired enough of the way that they're living and the way that they're not developing to be able to put their life on the line. If it ain't anything short of that, it's just a bunch of talk.
Yeah.
And what you see happening with the
there's already several different revolutions going on. I think the more practical solution is diplomacy, because even right now there's blood being shed as we speak. So my like if you look at the revolution that happened in Senegal, two coalition opposition parties became one and they took power. I think something similar should happen in the Congo. If they think Félix Tshisekedi is not a good leader, why don't two different opposition leaders come together the same way like
but
Sonko
is
in Senegal?
disappointing us. Yeah, he's disappointing a bit. They're moving way too slow, and they're not joining up with the AES. They're soft.
I was trying to go with many many scenario. I'm showing you the scenario which will happen with East African Community and SADC. Then I will give my suggestion on what can really bring a lasting peace to this issue.
All right,
so
appreciate it.
With this process, that's what is going to be a scenario. Then it will be just kicking the ball down the line. In 5 or 10 years, again, these same guys who were introducing Congolese army, they're gonna revolt again and bring up the same alibi. Oh, FDLR. Oh, Congolese Tutsi. Oh, so and so. Then it will be back to the square one. But now, for Congolese side, this is what we think. It's to get a real leader who's a patriotic and is not Félix Tshisekedi. Like you suggest, maybe a revolution. We are praying maybe in the army, if there will be guys who can take power. Or there is another process that the Catholic Church is trying, not only Catholic Church, but the church in Congo, they are trying to come up. So, because they know Congolese right now, they are divided. And divided, we cannot win the war. Tshisekedi is unable to unite Congolese. So I think that in that, if Tshisekedi allow that process to continue among the Congolese only, so that people can talk the truth and convince the power be, so that Tshisekedi can step down and get a guy who is patriotic and who is intelligent, then people will rally behind this guy. And if people rally behind this guy, we can put up the fight, because the good solution could have been to kick out these so-called M23 or AFC out, then pick up among that group who are really Congolese, pick up those who are really Congolese, and then integrate them into civilian society in Congo, and also the leader who will be able to provide development, or to provide the betterment of the life of people. The leader who's not going to be embezzling hundreds of millions of dollars a month for his own leisure and for his friends, but channel that money towards the development of the country. That's what I think it can be a solution. But we don't know yet. But Congolese are organizing. They are pushing for that.
So is that going to keep Kagame from trying to come back? Like what about trying to quell him from trying to even annex in the first place?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. If Congo has a great leader who is patriotic, who can organize the army, who can be, can unify Congolese to fight, Congolese have the number. Although the masterminders of this issue might not allow it, but there is a way to do that. It can take 1 year or 2 years, but if we get a good leader, Congolese are up to that challenge.
So you think
that would be through a coup, though, right?
Yeah, I'm like
a coup, or there is not only a coup, but by changing. It's not only a coup. There is a process where if there is a dialogue among the Congolese, if Tshisekedi is really patriotic, love Congo even to 30%, and he want to rescue Congo, he can allow himself to step down, and among those political force, among those other leaders who will be talking among themselves, they can put up a government of national unity, of national liberation, and put up a fight. That's what I mean. Not only a coup. A coup can be one. It's the option, but
that's a bad option, though. But
there's no impeachment.
But hold on. We're having this discussion because of Tshisekedi. His agitation is what created this whole discussion. This wasn't in the forefront of the news, even in the African Union agenda, until Tshisekedi agitated in the EAC, the SADC, and the Central African Union that they have with Angola, with what's other countries, Angola, the Congo, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So he agitated and created this spotlight, because it wasn't existent under Kabila.
He didn't agitate it. This is the mess which I would say he found there. It's not him who agitated. He made some mistakes. Yes, he made some mistakes. Like one mistake, for example, it's allowing, under Kagame's advice, to take Congo into East African Community. That was a mistake which he did, and Kagame knows why he did that, because East African court will never condemn Rwanda and condemn Kagame. No, there is some dynamics. If you are not from that region, you cannot understand it, unless you are from outside and you've read a lot. You see, you've read a lot about the region and the politics of the region. Yes, you can understand. So another mistake he made, it's instead of, you see, he has been in power for 6 years. During this 6 years time, at least even the 4 years where he was totally free, there was a way of reforming an army which could have put up a real fight than this one. But instead of doing that, he only wanted power for himself. If you've been following Congolese news, because vous parlez français, maybe you have the chance to go even on Congolese channel, you'll hear that Congolese have been complaining the way how Tshisekedi, he has been done even his nomination. If he get a chance of nominating, like, let's say, even 10 people, 8 out of these 10 will be people from his own ethnic group, and the 2 will be from somewhere else. That's a problem. That's what created the division, And another mistake which I'm blaming him, it's that corruption. They have stole a lot of money which could have gone into building up the army, building up the administration, building better roads than what they've done. Of course, they built some infrastructure, but they could have done better. And you will see some money. They even spend it in useless things, like organizing that game of Francophonie in Kinshasa, where they spent $450 million. That's $450 million that could build probably 450 or 500 kilometers. That's a road coming from Goma to where? Goma to Bukavu is like 120 kilometers. Bukavu to Uvira is 100 kilometers, 200. So that would be a road from probably Uvira to Kisangani. Do you see how much potential that could have created?
But that's what when I said that the this white professor got on this French channel and was talking about how they keep Africa at a certain level of development, because if they develop too much, then they can start to develop their own manufacturing, their own resources.
Yeah.
But if their infrastructure is too underdeveloped, they can't get the resources out. So they keep them right. They try to keep them right at a certain level of development.
Yeah.
And so that speaks to what you're talking about. Why he wouldn't build a road from wherever to wherever, because it would be too productive.
You see, for example, even the deal. I had somebody mention the deal which the US, the US did with Angola and Congo. That deal is so disadvantageous to Congo. Do you see? That's when I blame it, because if he was an intelligent leader with enough capacity diplomatically, Congo could have won even on that deal. Right now, if he knew how to negotiate that deal, right now the US could have been told Rwanda already, hey, Rwanda, stop, like Obama did in 2013. They could have stopped Rwanda by now. But because he is not capable of that, even with that deal, which it's like it's like you have your farm with plenty of all this wealth and stuff, and then your neighbor is gonna use, somebody's gonna use the way from your neighbor way to come and get all your mines, because in that deal of Luanda corridor, Lobito corridor, the port of Banana need only 1 billion to be built, and there is already a railway from Katanga to Kasai, which just need rehabilitation. From Kasai to Kinshasa up to that port, the deep water port of Banana, it also need just the estimation of building and rehabilitating all that land so that it can be good. It was estimated to be probably 2 billion and 200 million. Do you think if really we had a serious leader in Congo, the United States couldn't spend that money in Congo and but instead spend 1 billion in Angola building that Lobito corridor? No, they could have done that. Even Congo, because even Congo, could have come up with maybe 1 billion in that contract. And that railway could be so productive and so useful to Congolese, because it will be inland, passing from south of Congo, going in the center and to the western part of Congo. It couldn't be used only to ship out those minerals, but Congolese could have been using it for goods, good exchange. That. Yes, we hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So no, he's doing just what he.
I'd like to say that the brother, I think it's Excal or Umcal or something like that. But I like the fact that he's quoting a lot of sources and books and stuff like that, and showing that he's read up on the issue to some degree. I think that's very good.
Yeah, if you could drop those links, bro, so we could read up, follow it up later.
Yes, this time I'll do my best. I'll write up all the information. I'll put it in the comment when we finish on the video.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, man, again, coming back to what Dinas was asking about the situation in Congo. I mean, I've read a few books on the situation. I'm probably not as much as the brother, but there's a book called Why Nations Fail, right? And books like that. There are other books on topics of nationhood and things like that, and how nations develop and stuff like that. And what's happening in the Congo is you have a weak central government.
That's true.
Right? And just like the Haitian brother said, in that situation, what it creates is warlords and anarchy, right? Small fiefdoms, essentially. And so people in those areas have to follow the dictate of the people with the guns, essentially, right? And so they might be cheering on something, even though they might want something else. Or they might be partnered with these groups because those groups will provide them resources, right? But if another group comes in and takes over, they might go with that group too, or they might be forced to. And so it's that weak centralized government that's the issue. And
Yeah.
then, like he's saying, it's a really tough situation because we as maybe African people, we want to be like, hey, they're both black and they should work together. But at the same time, there's money and resources involved. And sometimes people aren't really thinking about the humanity of the situation. They're thinking about what they can get out of it, And so that might be Kagame's position. And that place that they're talking about mostly is right on the border with Rwanda. So it's just easy for him to just go over there and just take stuff, right? Because the centralized government doesn't really have a military force. Now, the fact that they don't have a military force is based on the fact that the country doesn't have the institutions to maintain that type of force. So the military is going to be weak because the politicians that are in power don't want a strong military, just like they don't want an educated population.
Yeah,
And
for
that's
sure.
global. Even in America, that happens. But the thing is, in America, there are more institutions, there are more.
Yeah, the brother is scattered, but yeah, he has some truth to his to what he said. Yes, there are the politicians, especially the president like Joseph Kabila and Tshisekedi. They didn't want a strong army, so that they can stay in power because they are afraid that strong army. When the country has a strong army, it's not easy to control the army. And it's not to some extent that army can be, an arbitrator, So yes, there is some truth to that. But saying that because of that, people in some area, it's easy for some group. No, this is what people have to understand in Congo. Let me spell this misinformation on Congo. And this you can find it in the recently published 2024 UN expert group of expert report. And I know some people are skeptical of UN. Yes, we are skeptical when it comes to UN acting. But when it comes to investigations and writing reports, they are good. They are unbiased, they are objectives. You see this when for example, the foreigners, especially the Rwandan and the Abaka said, oh, no, it's not only M23, but it's also Congo has 150 militia which is fighting the government. That is not true. They can be maybe 5 militias group or armed group that are fighting the government, but these other 100 group or militia group, how they were formed, it's mainly people like now M23 have taken the North Kivu, and people who they like, no, we can't take this. They reorganize themselves because they know that the government is not in North Kivu, and these people are killing. For example, the traditional leader who was killed 2 days ago. People from that group, they may say, they killed our traditional leader, so now they want to take our land. They will organize themselves into militia and find by any means the guns. And that's how these groups get created, so that they can fight now the M23. You see? That's the origin of many of these groups.
So a lot of the soldiers they fought in different groups?
Sorry?
So a lot of the I call them rebels, but let's say a lot of them used to be in different groups.
Yeah, they are resistant. They are Congolese resistant movement. That's why you will see when even the government call all these groups to negotiation so as we can find solution. Most of all those Congolese groups, they join force with government because their main problem it's been the Rwandan occupation or Rwandan and Uganda involvement in Congo. For example, there is one group which those few groups which are controlled by Rwanda or which Rwanda is using as alibi. There is an FDLR. Yes, this FDLR, it's a Rwanda. It's a Rwandan group which it's made of remnants of those Rwandan who ran away from Rwanda in 1994. Among them, yes, there might be people who committed genocide, but when you read any UN investigation report and even some credible research, like in the book In Praise of Blood and the Holocaust in Congo, the author, this researcher, touched on this. There is a scenario when Congolese, because even the Congolese, what Rwanda is not saying is that Congolese government or Congolese army also has been hunting this group down. Congolese government has been fighting them. And sometimes they capture them because they are refugees in Congo. They handed them to UN, and UN will process them and resettle them in Rwanda. But what they found, those guys are brainwashed by Rwandan government. Probably some are recruited in the Rwandan army and then sent back in Congo. There is actually an interview which the journalist did. He asked one of the M23 who they captured again they found again in Congo after they've repatriated him in Rwanda, and he said that actually, when the CNDP come to the area where we are, we don't fight, we collaborate with them. They get.
Hey, I got a question, man.
Yes.
Is Paul Kagame? Do they have elections in Rwanda, for instance?
Sham, it's just a masquerade of election. It's just like like.
How long has Kagame been in power? Is it since the 90s or something?
Yes, he has been. So
yeah, but he has these lighthearted.
Essentially, you could look at him as like a dictator or something. Or
yes, he's an authoritarian. He's an authoritarian president. And
so this is the thing: dictatorships, authoritarian governments, that type of stuff. This is what they do. They go into other countries and they take shit by force. Look at what's happened with Russia and Ukraine.
Look at what happened with Burkina Faso. That was a coup.
Exactly.
That was a coup.
And guess what? Russia is in Burkina Faso helping those guys, and that same Wagner group, they're probably helping Rwanda too.
Yeah, no, they're no longer there. They're no longer there. But they have an ally. Russia is an ally, and China's probably an ally too. And they need allies. You know why? Because they're faced with a big enemy. And so who you partner up with is important if you want to survive.
These guys are fighting probably all sides. They're playing both sides. And what they're getting out of the deal is the resources, the same resources that we sit on these channels sometimes and say, oh, the West is trying to take the resources.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the Chinese and the Russians or whoever is giving that military assistance, because sometimes American companies can't really get in on the ground like these guys can, because America has rules on like, hey, you shouldn't be bribing officials and all this type of stuff.
Yeah. And you think they follow those rules?
No,
I mean, if you catch somebody, you'll get in trouble, though. You get reprimanded.
The rule the United States has broken almost every treaty, almost 90% of the treaties with the Native Americans. Let's start there. And then they've gone all across the world and done. Look what they've done to black people, African Americans. What they've done to us and continue to do with us. So we're cold though in the argument, because we're arguing now. You're talking about dictators, right? You're talking about dictators being a problem. And I'm saying to you that Burkina Faso was a situation with a coup, which I don't agree with coups, because coups could be short-lived if you don't have the people's buy-in. And this is what Frantz Fanon talks about in his book about, educating the people. You got to educate the people on the far reaches of the country so that people can't come to them and hire them to be insurgents, because that's where insurgency is going to come from, the people. So you have to educate the people politically, so that the people will support you, and that is not done, and usually not done in a coup. And Frantz Fanon talks about this in detail about mental enslavement and stuff, and how we think about ourselves. He goes into scientific analysis of it. So, and I'm saying to you that that the AES, all of those leaders were coups. But it does matter. It does matter who the coup. If it's going to be a coup, it does matter. But they need those coup leaders. They need to make sure that they quickly get the people's buy-in quickly, because if they don't, they're vulnerable and they could be short-lived.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. I'm not making if you ask me straight up, hey, is a dictatorship better than a democracy? I would say no, right? Now, and if you say to me, hey, America has done a lot of things globally over the years, support coups, all this type of stuff, I'd say yes. But the thing is, we got to be able to differentiate what has happened in the past and what's happening currently.
Yeah.
Because something happened in the past does not mean it's happening currently. So we got to be able to assess that situation now and in the past, right? Now, check this out now. The other thing is, too, that all these countries are going for the resources in a sense, right? That's why they're partnering with these governments, and they're all in there. Now, would I prefer America to be in there? America might not be able to in there because they got rules on now. They have rules on like, hey, you can't do bribes and stuff overseas. You could be prosecuted in America for that.
Yeah,
The
Are you
Chinese might.
serious?
you definitely
Here's what I'm
can.
saying.
Sure.
Are you
Here's what I'm saying.
serious? You're
Yes, that's what I'm
telling
saying.
me that the rules that they make is adhered to, and that it's they do all the things that they say they're going to do with their rules.
I tell you what though,
If you
straight off
present
of that point, let's not
information
get
They
or
stuck
don't
on
even
this
facts
do
point.
that
that
here.
there's
They don't
if
even
you
do that in
present
the United States
Here's
with
this. Here's
its
this.
bro,
own citizens.
Here's this,
if you
brother.
present information
Here's
Look
or
at
this.
how the
facts
police
Here's
to
treat
this.
us with the
oh my
rules and
god, bro.
the court systems and shit and they rules. They're
Here's
not
this though.
they're
Here's
not
this.
they're not following their rules.
Here's this though. Let's not get stuck on that point.
Okay, let's not get
So
stuck
we're
on a
not
point.
arguing
But
that point. Let's get this
so
point.
recently and
In
even
America,
recently,
right?
and
In
recently you have
America, right?
HR, you have yeah, in America you have Bill HR 7311. This was in the last 4 years, and you have also the Global Fragility Act. I bring these up all the time because these are bills that are passed that allows the United States to go. They passed the bill, the HR 7311, created by Gregory Meeks and Congressman in Queens, New York, Black African American, on sits on the Foreign Committee, and that bill says it counters the malign effects of Russian propaganda on the continent of Africa and in the United States among the African diaspora. Who you think they're talking about? They're not talking about Nigerians. They're not talking about Trinidadians. They're not talking about black folks in Virginia. They're talking about all of us. So that's the COINTELPRO or thing that they have reinstated. Basically, is COINTELPRO. This is the rules. This is the laws they have passed. So now they have enacted this bill to make an excuse to go. Not they don't even need the excuse because they already got 27 something bases in Africa already, and they already got agreements with these puppets that they got. They're working through their partners, so they don't even really need to do that. But this for the American people, they have passed this bill HR 7311, and that's only one. So now they can go and surveil the surveillance of countries and their extractive industries and their political deals and dealings and stuff. They monitor them above board instead of
But check this
having
out.
to hide.
Why why I don't why I don't want to get stuck on that point is because we start going back and forth, and I can say to you, countering Russian propaganda. What's Russian propaganda? You see what I'm saying? Is Russian propaganda a good thing? That's what you got to ask yourself.
African
I'm saying
Stream. Do
it's
you
not
know?
a
Do you
good
know
thing.
about the channel African Stream?
Yes, yes.
You know about that?
I know, man.
There's a channel. There's an
A what?
Afrocentric channel. I mean, a Pan Africanist channel called African Stream. Anthony
You know, on
Blinken
Rumble only.
several months ago got on the news, the Secretary of State or whatever he is, and said that African Stream was supported by Russian as a propaganda, and it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
So now you this is
Bro,
today. This
but
is
what I'm
not
saying to
yesterday.
you
This is
is,
not a year ago. This was just a month or two
what
ago.
I'm saying to you is,
It's
what
an
I'm saying to
attack
you is,
on Pan
right?
Africanism.
Here's what I'm saying. Here's
Yes.
what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. And why I don't want to get stuck on this point, I'm going to entertain it a little bit, but I don't want to get stuck on it because my contention is that in America, right, Congolese have more say as to what America does in America than a Congolese would have of what goes on in Russia. Why I say that? There are more Congolese living in America. I don't know the numbers for sure, but I would bet you there's more
What does that have to
Congolese.
do with the price of rice in China? That
Here's what I'm
Congolese have
saying.
more say in America than
Listen to what
Congolese
I'm
have
saying,
more
brother.
say in
Listen to what
Russia.
I'm saying, brother. Listen to what I'm saying. More Congolese have a say as what's going on in America or have support in America than they would have in Russia. Because you have African Americans that would support Congolese positions or Congolese people. You have other people from African countries that would support it. And the population is a relatively big number in America. And all these people have a vote. They have a say into what happens in this government. In Russia, you do not have that say.
Right. Well,
So
what's
if something's
interesting,
going
brother?
negative,
Right.
if
What's
America
interesting
does
is
something, yeah.
people talking about politics and social media, and I'm in some of them on some of the spaces. There's a pretty good sized group. When I brought up the HR 7311, they were like crickets in the room. And then I brought up later Global Fragility Act. That's another one started
Bro,
by Madeleine
what I'm
Albright.
saying to you, right,
And those are
is that
political
that
things.
HR that thing, I support it because what Russia is doing is just like the brother said about Rwanda
So you
earlier. He
supported
said,
J. Edgar Hoover with
here's what I'm saying.
COINTELPRO, right?
Here's what I'm saying.
Right?
It's no, bro.
Did you
What I'm saying.
support J. Edgar Hoover with
Listen to what I'm saying.
COINTELPRO?
Listen to
Bro,
what I'm saying.
could we have dialogue or what?
Listen to what I'm saying.
He cut out.
Yeah, you cut out,
He
bro.
cut out. That's
But
the ancestors cutting his ass out. He's
but I
saying
looked up
some fucked
HR
up
No,
shit.
but
7311.
I kind of see his point in terms of America, because even like that channel you talk about, African Streams, they were in support of barbecue. They labeled him a revolutionary and all this kind of bullshit. They were wrong. The majority of people barbecue kill in Haiti is fucking black people. He don't touch mulattoes and whites
I don't think that they were
Arabs and
support.
Can
people
you
that are
prove
viewed as
that?
I
I
don't think that
oligarchs.
they were support
Can
of
you
him.
put that in the back channel where I could go read that
They
the
were just
African stream supported barbecue?
they were just showing, like they has a
Bro,
side
the
that
channel doesn't exist. The channel doesn't exist anymore.
it
So
is
how
on
would I
Rumble.
be able
You can
to?
find it on Rumble.
What
It's on
channel?
Rumble.
African Stream doesn't
I don't be
exist
on Rumble.
anymore. It does
It's not on
exist.
YouTube anymore.
Yeah, it's not
Neil,
on
Well, it's
but
not
it's
on
YouTube.
on
YouTube. I
it's
don't
on
know.
Twitter.
Demonstrate
It's
one
on
point real quick.
X. It does
So I looked.
exist.
Well, I will have to look. I don't know. But if you probably type in their take on barbecue, you'll see the videos and how they viewed him initially, which they were wrong. So it's like then you can't look at it as an absolute, like the absolute correct, but they also have a mass appeal in terms of media
Yeah.
that can be used against
So
the advantage of those nations and what they were trying to promote. So the same thing could go for DRC.
Well,
That's what I'm
what we
saying. Like for
found
me
is that
personally, you
it is
can't
a
compare.
Pan-Africanist channel that is, for the most part, they get the story right, and they're
Yeah.
Bro,
investigative
Yeah,
journalists that
I used
tell
to
a
subscribe
story.
to them. I agree.
the ancestor didn't
But
cut me
I'm
out, by
saying
the
that
way.
what happened
so
there?
I
What happened?
looked.
Go finish your thoughts. There. Finish your thoughts.
But here's what I'm
So
saying, brother. Here's what I'm saying. And I don't want to argue with you like on these points because we're all human beings and we all make mistakes. We all got right information. We all got wrong information. So that's my starting point. I got wrong information. I got right information. Same with everybody else. Now, all I'm saying, bro, right, is that the brother said earlier about Rwanda. He says we in the West are getting the Rwandan side of the story, not the Congolese side, right? That means
Yeah.
the story is
But
being told.
hold on. Can I ask you a question? Is that true though? Is that true though? Because you're here in America. What is your perspective
I would
of
say,
what's going on in the Congo? Is it
on our
Rwanda?
channels, right? Our Pan-Africanist, Black American type channels, like your Wodi Maya, your, Dionys, all these kind of guys. Rwanda is portrayed in a good light.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so what I'm saying to you is currently globally, Russia in the West, in America, stuff like that, is being portrayed in a good light. You see what I'm saying?
No.
Even what's happening in Ukraine, right? Russia goes into a sovereign country, right? And they attack Ukraine, and people are portraying that like it's a good thing, not realizing that emboldens other people that want to do the same thing. Because going back to World War II, right? And we're gonna go way back to World War II, but World War II, that's kind of that's how it built out to become what it was. This guy went into a country and everybody said, "Hey, it's all right, just leave him alone," blah blah blah, and then he keeps moving. You see what I'm saying? So this is how people are viewing it right now. They're viewing it that, hey, we need to stop this thing now from happening because it's just going to get worse. And so my point is the Russians, that's what they're using, propaganda. The question we got to ask ourselves is, do we want to be like Russia?
What
Russia
do we
has
do?
10%.
No,
Here's what I'm saying.
No, but can I say something real quick? Can I say
Wait,
something real quick? Can
you're
I say
off the
something?
Let me
key
say this and
here.
I'll be done.
We have a
Let me say,
problem.
1 second,
We
brother. 1
as
second.
African people have a
Brother,
problem. And now we need to get
brother.
our pen and pad out and write down all the problems that we have. It's a lot, but we could do the basic general problem. One of the first problems is we need to control our resources and we need to get them crackers up out the paint. That's what we need to
Including
do.
the Russians, right?
Right, well, not necessarily.
The Russians are the one that's there. That's what I'm
Can I
telling
say
you.
something?
Well,
It's
let me
not the
say this.
Americans. It's the Russians that are there mainly.
Russia doesn't have the history that the Western Europeans. They don't have that history. They didn't go
And
and
brother,
colonize.
this is what
They
I'm
didn't go and
telling you.
colonize and enslave
This
Africans.
is
They
what
didn't
I'm
do that.
saying.
So that
This is
we
what I'm
can
saying.
start with. Neither did the Chinese.
Can I?
But we're
Can
not
I say
saying
something
that
real quick?
we're in bed with. Yeah, you can say something. Let me land with this. We're not saying that we are going to just give it up totally and completely to the Chinese or the Russians or anybody. We're saying we're strategically using different partners for different things. And the Russians want to, they have interests, and we know what their interests are. The Chinese, we know what their interests are. We have interests. We know what we know what the Western world, United States and Europe, what their interests are. And so we have to make smart moves with that. And at the end of the day, if we do not come together as a people, and if we do not have conversation about that culminates or that talks broadly on how we're going to come together, and not all this tribal shit and all of this shit that the Democrats and the Republicans talk about. We sound like political people talking in the United States about Democrats and Republicans, and it's not about neither one of them. So if we're not talking about unity and how we're linking up, or how the kids is going to take over some shit or something, we're just in here talking, and we're only talking anyway. So if we're going to talk, at least it could be some talk that's going to be moving in the direction of unifying and who's the coons and get the crackers out the paint.
So this is the thing. Do you want to live? I'm going back to my question again. Again, do you want to live like the Russians live? Let me say this now to your
Do you
point.
mean socialist? Do we want
Russia,
a
here's what
socialist
I'm saying. Here's
ideology?
what I'm
Is that
saying.
what you mean?
Not just socialist. Here's what I'm going to say. Let
Okay.
me give you some
So
numbers.
we're not
Let me give you some numbers.
Europeans. We're not
Let me give you
in
some numbers.
Europe. So how are we going to live like the Russians when we're not
Let me
Europeans
give
and
you some
living in
numbers.
Europe?
Let me give you some
And
numbers.
you're not talking about socialism.
Here's what I'm saying. The propaganda is there to make you be sympathetic to their position. But what I'm saying to you is they're doing the same thing. They're in Africa taking out the resources. Read up the stuff on what
There is
Wagner
no,
was
we're
doing.
saying there is no propaganda. Well, let me say this. I won't say there is no propaganda, because I get propaganda that's for the AES. I get a lot of good news about Traore, Goita, and Ticini. Good. Everything can't be good in the AES. And then I hear the bad shit coming from other Africans, or the stuff that's going on that's not good. So what we have to do is we have to analyze and be critical in our thinking about the information that we get. Everything's not going to be all bad. Everything's not going to be all good. But at the same time, African Stream that got kicked to the curb,
Yeah,
most of the time have told the truth and given a good assessment that it has not been given in other media.
that's
And
right.
and look what happened to them. So
Yeah, the point is look what happened to the guy that ran Wagner Group. He got blown out of the sky in an airplane when he tried to go march on Moscow. So my point is, the Russians are there doing the same thing. Now, Russia, let me give you some numbers here. Russia controls about 10% of the world's landmass, over 150 million people about, and they got a smaller economy than Canada with like a third of the population. And you know what I mean? So
you
this is the
finished with your
route we're
business,
going to
Rob?
go. So
You
my point
finished?
is, huh?
I mean, for the day.
Hold on, can I say something real quick?
Go ahead, bro.
Huh?
Because I feel like you're being disingenuous. If you look at Kagame, Kagame has a
Uh,
he's good at marketing himself. And are you from where are you from? What's your background? Your family? Are you African American?
yeah.
Well, where I'm from, like I'm a Haitian American, but my family in Haiti. All right. Kagame had reached out to Haiti, offered assistance to the politicians. He frequently spoke to the president that passed, Jovenel Moise. He reached out to the Senate. So he does excellent marketing of his nation. And even recently, I think Nigerian leadership went into do a cross reference in marketing and governance in Kigali. So he does an excellent job in marketing himself. And even if you look at Russia, Russia historically has supported people's opposition to colonialism, which helped them a lot in terms of image wise. Although it's controversial, they have a more middle centric image globally versus in America. In America, they have more of a negative evil image, but globally they have a people don't love them, but they don't hate them, and they see them as an opposition to colonization historically. So for you to try to say that Kagame centered media is skewing the mind of America or Black Americans or whatever, or even whatever, it's not until Tshisekedi, in my honest opinion, even when Kabila was there for 20 years, he haven't really spoken out. He hasn't agitated. He did anything to make raise the issue between Rwanda and Congo. It's Tshisekedi who very recently has agitated to create a understanding that there's an issue between what's going on. That's why I look at Dynas. I hopped on and I challenged him because Tshisekedi only been in power for 6 years, and he has agitated to the point in which is a hot button topic in the AU, is a hot button topic in the EAC, is a hot button topic in the SADC, and is also a hot button topic in the Central African Union. So he did his job to also equally market and challenge Kagame. That wasn't done before. And he's only been in power for 6 years, and you're comparing him to a leader who has been in power for over 30 years. The UN mission in the Congo has been in power over 20 years. So Tshisekedi has agitated stronger than the previous president to make this a firm talking point and to challenge the perspective of those who see Kagame, because Kagame's have an excellent marketing
Yeah,
image.
yeah. Kagame is
Right.
big
But
on propaganda.
earlier, you
Yeah,
done?
go ahead. I was trying
Earlier,
to.
what I said was the brother said that the other brother said that Kagame, his image in the West, and what we get generally is favorable, right?
Yeah,
Now, this is the thing. So I was just kind of parroting what he said, and it seems to me like that's correct, right?
But why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it be? If he's doing an excellent marketing outreach, he's a darling of Africa. He's a darling in the
Now,
Caribbean.
just remember
He's one of the
now.
first
And look at
African
this.
leaders who reached
Just
out to
remember.
CARICOM. He's
Just remember where that money is coming from, right? If the brother from Congo is correct, and some of the sources he's citing, that money or some of that money is coming out of the Congo, getting the resources out the Congo, right? Now,
yeah,
now this is the thing, and that's what gives him the same thing with Putin, right? Putin in Russia, he's one of the richest guys in the world, they said. Why is that? Because he's taking the resources, and the people around him, the rich people, the oligarchy, are taking the resources of the Russian people, and thus the Russian people have a very small economy and not as much rights and all this type of stuff, even though the state has a lot of natural resources, because natural resources aren't the real resource. The real resource of a country is the people. There are plenty of countries that have no natural resources and are richer than countries that do. And now we can make an argument as to how that happens and all that, but I would say that the real natural resource is the people first. If the people are educated, people are knowledgeable, because it's correct information and application of correct information. If you have the wrong information, then you don't know, you're going to apply the wrong things, and then you're going to you're going to do the wrong thing. And so what I'm saying is, in America, what happens in America, right? A part of what happened is the historical is what happened historically in America. Because as black people primarily, you experience a certain thing in America, right? You feel like, or we feel like, America is like can't do nothing right, essentially, can't get right, essentially. They everything they do is going to be wrong. You see what I'm saying? But I would argue that because of the way the American system was developed, it enabled a lot of changes to happen over time. So no country is going to be perfect, just like no individual is perfect. No human is perfect. So any system that a human being builds is going to have issues. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be a constant work in progress. But America, because of the way it was designed, of people having a say in the government. Remember, when America first started out, only white men with property could vote, for instance, right? Now everybody has a vote, right? And that came through struggle and fight and all that, but the system allowed for change. If you live in another type of system, it doesn't allow for that change. For the people in Congo to make a change in that society, it's going to be a monumental task. It's going to be a big task, because you see the images and stuff like that, and the country is not really there even to the fullest, even though they got the resources. So they got to spend a ton of money on infrastructure. They got to spend a ton of money on education. They got to open up the society to build other institutions that can resist other powerful forces and things like that. You know what I mean? To build out a system like that, it's gonna take a monumental task. Now, something can go from a dictatorship to democracy. You can look at like South Korea. That's what they did. But then all these places we're quoting, China, Russia, all these places. China is a single party state. Now, yeah, they did a lot of infrastructure building and all that. Russia got to space before America, right? But in the end, they lost the Cold War. So something can look good right now and not be good in the long run. You see what I'm saying? So, and so the thing is, the other thing I like to say, you ever watch the movie Hunger Games? You notice in the movie Hunger Games, the capital, right? So people go to Kigali, like the brother was saying earlier. You go to Kigali and it's nice, but you go outside of Kigali, he's saying it's rougher, right? I don't know if that's true or not. I've never been there, but watching Wodi Maya or different channels, I see,
It's like
it
that
looks
in
nice,
DC.
right? Huh?
No, I'm listening, bro. It's like that in Washington DC. I'm saying, but yeah.
Yeah, in DC, you kind of got that too. You got a lot of poverty right around the White House, right? Yes, true. But at the same time, too, if in Hunger Games, the capital was nice, right? But outside the capital, it was rough, right? In America, yes, you have rough spots, different parts, and we know that there's inequality involved, and we know that there's racism and all that. You know what I mean? But even for those people, they have more freedoms now than they would have had, say, in the 1700s or 1600s or 1800s. So the system did allow for change, right? And in America, you can find rich spots throughout the country, or middle class spots, or poor spots throughout the country. You can drive on a road from California all the way to LA, a decent road, all the way out there. There's some countries where to go 50 miles, it might take you 2-3 days. You see what I'm saying? So that the Hunger Games is kind of a show of, like, sometimes look at North Korea, for instance. Pyongyang is really nice if you go there, but outside of Pyongyang, so like the core where the power is, where the oligarchy is, where the people that are just getting the resources, they're keeping the resources and not spreading it out to the society, not making sure they build libraries, universities, schools. In America, anywhere you go, even if you're in a poor community, you can probably find a library within 10 miles of your house, 10, 15 miles of your house. You know what I mean? You got access to some basic needs to some degree. You know what I mean? And so for Congo and some of these countries to build it out is going to take, you would have to study like a country like South Korea and see how they did it, you know, because they went from the military ran for a while, and the military gave power to civilians, and now the civilians run the government and stuff like that. But you look at South Korea, look at North Korea. South Korea is far more successful trading globally with people. You know, we were driving Korean cars.
Yeah, but there's also the North has an embargo on it. You compare like apples to orange. Even when you talk about DRC has a lot of minerals where
He
some of
said
these
South
big
Korea.
oligarchy nations are trying to prey on it. That's why I always say that Rwanda and Congo need to come to an agreement and create peace in that region, because globally they're targeted. You see, it's not the same as North Korea or China or whatever. They're more targeted. You see what I'm saying? So you're looking at it from, oh, this is a nation to a
Hey,
nation.
I'm back,
No,
y'all.
a
Let you
lot of
know.
nations want the all right, bro. A lot of people want the minerals from Congo, but they don't want to pay the prices. So they're going to look for this instability, and they rather unstable Congo. It's up to Congo and the regional powers, the AU, the SADC, and all these people to come together and create an African solution to the problem. Because at the end of the day, all these nations, not just America, Russia, China, India, all these nations want cheap goods and cheap minerals from the Congo. So you can't compare Congo to even a Burkina Faso, where there's a lot of resources. The same way, if you looked at what happened with the coups, when Niger got its coup, it had the most pushback because Niger has some of the precious minerals that keep Europe warm. You see what I'm saying? So you're comparing apples to oranges. That's why I look at Tshisekedi as a chess maker, a playmaker, by utilizing the different blocks of Africa in the media to agitate, to create a spotlight to challenge Kagame. Because Kagame, like I said, is a darling. Even in my own eyes, I view him as a he's tough, he's controversial, he's very respectable. So it was Tshisekedi who challenged that in the media. It's Tshisekedi who stood up and fought and agitated and went to different meetings and flew to the EAC and tried to agitate in the EAC, went to the SADC, went to sit in Angola, went to sit in the Brazzaville, right? He went to go sit over there. Like he's in Chad. He's talking to the leaders of Chad. I think he has 10,000 soldiers coming in from Burundi. He has soldiers coming in from Chad. You want to focus on the mercenaries, but there's other things in which he's doing as a chess maker to make it an African issue rather than simply just a DRC issue, which is chess.
Just
You
for
see?
everybody, I've shared a lot of books that I've been using in the chat on YouTube, and many other source of information, just to let everybody knows. If you check on Omcal, I've been sharing there all this time now. I'll
Thanks,
let the
man.
brother continue.
Hey guys, links in the chat room. If you guys want to call in after the combo, go ahead and click on the link.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop down in a minute here, but I'll be listening. And I might come back up, but
Hold on, can I ask Dennis a quick question real quick?
Go ahead.
Dennis, can I ask you a question real quick?
Go ahead.
Were you aware of the major issues in the DRC previous to the agitation of Tshisekedi, the president, Felix?
Absolutely. There's always been issues since the assassination of Patrice Lumumba.
No, but in terms of the hand of Kagame in the issue, because the UN mission been there for over 20 years, absolutely. With other issues.
They've always, I guess, implicated Kagame in regards to what's going on in the Eastern Congo. And, you know, Kagame's, I guess his reasoning is, or after the genocide, you know, the Hutus fled into that part of the region. So he's just chasing them. And then I played a actual interview from one of, I don't know which ministry she's in.
Yeah, she's
but she was saying that, you know, they're still threatening to exact revenge against Kagame, so that's why they're doing what they're doing.
Now, can I ask you, Diana, another question, or everybody here? Would you, knowing what Leopold II has done, do you support Leopold? Would any African like you or whoever thinks, do you support what Leopold II did in Congo?
Of course not.
Of course not,
then
bro.
Why would you support Paul Kagame on what he's doing?
You can't. That apples and oranges, bro. Kagame ain't over there cutting off arms and legs of the youth. I mean,
but causing the death of more than 10 million people, 10 million African, isn't nearly the same number with Leopold II?
No, apples and oranges.
All right, let me say this real quick.
Allowing being used as a proxy of the West so that they can negotiate a better price for them on the mines in Congo.
I don't support Kagame. I don't support him.
Let me say this real quick, and then I'm gonna drop down. I'll be listening. I'll try and come back up, right? And just to the point that the brother saying there's embargoes, right? Listen, America's biggest trading partners, right, are like places like Mexico, Canada, China. I think actually Mexico and Canada are even bigger than China, right? What we would consider relatively or pretty much free countries, right? Democracies, right?
Yeah.
These are the
guys, links in the chat room. If you want to call in, click on the link. If you want to call in, please click on the link. And hit the like button as well. Dynas, let me read these super chats. Mother Russia put an end to COVID-19. Rafael Vigilazun, 6 euros. Congo is a corrupt nation, and they don't want to hold their president Felix accountable from the Congo. That's my point. They don't want to hold Felix accountable. That's my point.
Not true. That's not true. You've been hearing me saying that.
Kagame.
No. You heard me all along saying that Félix Tshisekedi is not a great leader. He could have done better, you know, with what he's done. And here, when you wasn't there, I enumerate things that Felix could have done better than, instead of embezzling the money, there is things that you could have improved, and Congo would have been ready for this challenge. And I even say that from a lot of Congolese, they are working, or people are organizing, they are putting pressure on Felix so that he can step away, he can step down, so that, you know, Congo can be led by a patriotic guy who has an intellect and the know-how of governing a country, because Felix is a failure. Felix is among us Congolese, this is what we call Felix and his party. We call it's a calamity to Congo. But another thing you need to know, that's why I said Felix being a president of Congo today, it is some part thanks to Paul Kagame, because Kagame was among the 5 African leaders who supported I shared here, there is a document even from Foreign Policy, American newspaper, not only from that, the the journal which I like to quote, the Black Agenda Report, did a piece when Felix came to power that Kagame's house Negro. That's how many Congolese were looking at Felix when he came to power in the 2019, 2020. When it comes even to this issue of FDLR, people probably are not informed that Congo has allowed more than 3 times Rwandan Special Force to come in Congo to hunt, to be helped with Congolese army, to hunt down those FDLR. But they don't, because they want that issue to be there perpetually, because so that they can be using it as an alibi to invade Congo perpetually. As I've shown again in the book which I've shared with people, In Praise of Blood, among the page where they show the maps, even the researcher, the African-American brother, scholar, Christian Davenport, who wrote Rethinking Rwanda 1994, he proved that the situation in Congo and the situation in Rwanda, it was engineered. It was by purpose. There are some Koras who purposely wanted the genocide to happen in Rwanda. If you read enough books, enough articles, enough studies which went into the study of that genocide, you will see it. And it was by purpose that they closed off the border of Rwanda and Tanzania, border of Rwanda and Burundi as well, so as to push as many people and many of those Hutu and the Tutsi because Tutsi were already running away in Bukavu, Uvira, and Goma. But later on, it was millions of people from Rwanda pushed there, and they knew because of the landscape of Congo, the geography of Congo, the mountains, the mines, the forests. Those people will survive there, and those who they will eventually organize themselves into a militia, which Rwanda will be using as an alibi. That's what I've been trying to show. Now think, imagine one day you are in your home compound, and all of a sudden a Rwandan back rebel show up. They hold you and all the family at gunpoint, and they oblige you in front of your whole family. They oblige you as a young guy to rape your mother. You resist it, and they shoot you. Then they oblige your father in front of your young brother, your young sisters, to rape your sister. And because of that fear of seeing that his older son has been shot in front of him and the body is lying there, he does it. This is not fiction, guys. It's not fiction. This situation happened. It happened in Bukavu when the Rwandan-backed CNDP and Mutebusi took over Bukavu. And it's not only in Bukavu. It has been happening in many areas of Congo. So when you are saying that you support Kagame, imagine this. Would you ever take that? Do you think that is human? That is something that a person who allow that, or a person who support that, is this really something which us who are struggling or who are saying that we are pro the development of Africa can support? This is not fiction. You can look it up. There is a lot of reports which have been written on Congo. You can look the UN mapping report, which they went in all areas where there is this we call Foscobin, where they buried people, hundreds of people together. Millions of people have died on this issue. It couldn't be. Yes, we have to hold Tshisekedi accountable, but we have also to pressure Rwanda, especially. It's not all the Rwandan, but we call it Kagamistan. Among the people of that region, both Rwandan, Congolese, and Burundian, we call the system the Kagamistan system.
Okay. Guys, let me read the rest of these super chats. Raid, Undugu. Is this what he keeps quoting? KHR 7311, combating international drug trafficking and human smuggling partnership act of 2024. Spellcaster, Dynas, when are you going to Equatorial Guinea? The only Spanish speaking African country. I'm not sure. Zongo Native, unmute yourself. Go ahead. Zongo Native, unmute yourself.
Oh yeah,
Zongo.
yeah. Oh, okay. Greetings, dinos and the panelists in the chat. I just wanted to ask the Congolese guy on the panel this question. Like in the North Kivu area, the population of like the people over there, are they like the Tutsis the majority in those areas?
as I've said again,
No, I've just started following the conversation. I was
yeah,
just
you've asked me this question before. North Kivu is populated by Bahunde, Banande, Banyanga, Batembo, and these are natives to that land. These are the ones who, since the 13th century and so on, they are native to that land. Some of them, yes, they have relatives to the former empire, which was located between in Uganda today, which you can call they call it, what is called the Northern Uganda, not Buganda, but there was another one like the Bakonjo and Banande. Now, during the colonization, yes, our brother from Rwanda, Bahutu.
well, that's all I just
Now,
wanted to know.
the makeup is like this. The authentic Congolese might be 60%. They might be 60 to 70%.
Yeah, that's fine. I just
With all the migration of our brother Banyarwanda, now they might be in the 30 or 40% Banyarwanda. So the Tutsi might be in the 20 to 15% of the population of all North Kivu.
and over the years, like those small.
Hi, Keisha. I'm showing my face. Now I'm turning my camera back on.
I mean, over the years, like where like those small group like the Tutsis, were they also like part of the government? Like, do they, did they experience any kind of discrimination? Like, were they kind of like, did they kind of feel like they were a critical component of that society within that North Kivu area? Were they in government? Do they have like, were they like in key sectors within the economy?
Okay. Yes, since the Mobutu era, although the Tutsi was, our brother Tutsi and Hutu, most of them, they came as a migrant, but they were included because Mobutu actually provided a lot of scholarship to them. I can name one. You can ask any of Banyarwanda Tutsi about Barthélemy Bisengimana Rwema. He was from Changugu, he was from Changugu, but Mobutu provided them scholarship to go to Congolese University, and after graduating, he was appointed as the chief of staff of Mobutu, and he's the guy who masterminded a lot of stuff. The former Archbishop of Goma, Monseigneur Kanyamachumbi, he was of that stock. Even in Uvira, they were although they were migrants, those who got Congolese citizenship, they were provided the same economic, political opportunity like any other Congolese. They were, to some extent, they were even favored than some other Congolese, authentic Congolese ethnic group. You see, I can name a lot of them. There is like the Rwakabuba Shinga.
The issue I have is you keep on tagging them as migrant, but then when you listen to Kagame, he keep on saying like those people are not Rwanda, Congolese actually.
Okay.
But anyway, we don't want to go too much into.
They're a different ethnic group, and that's why they share the border. Basically, they were there before the borders. That's the long story short.
But you shouldn't be tagging them as Rwandas or something like that.
Listen now. Yeah, you said okay. Do you see? You are quoting Kagame, right? Now, as a Congolese,
no, I'm not quoting Kagame.
Yes, that's what Kagame has been saying. Now, if you do studies, because there is study which have been done, and not only by Congolese, even people who didn't know that this conflict will ever happen, or these things will happen. I can point to a study of the last time I point out. There is a professor Kalala. Let me look for the book because I have to remind myself. There is study which was done. Actually, there is explorer. Henry Moto Stanley was there. Go check on Henry Moto Stanley on notes on Congo. Burton visit this area. This in the 1800 or the 1700. There is explorer. There is those first I can call them spies who visit this area. Go check if there is any. If they mention in their note that they met any Congolese.
Yeah, but you can't use those explorers as an additional.
People don't want to use that now. Let me go to.
You can't use that. We all came from Africa and this like bordering like state. But anyway, that's not the reason why I'm asking this. I don't want us like to go to that thing.
Hold on, let me answer now. Do you see? That's why I said in most of our brother English speaking African, People are fed the Kagame narrative or the Kagame.
No, that's not a, no.
Hold
We
on,
all come from this.
hold on. Now listen to Congolese who have read a lot, and I can give you references so that you yourself. I put one book here. You know, the L of the Tutsi in Eastern Congo Zaire, a case study of Southern Kivu. There you're gonna get books. The last time I quoted the book of an American scholar, David Newberry, Kings and Clans. He went and studied this region. As I said before, do you see, if it wasn't the German could
Yeah, but you can't be citing those people though. Like, but
why
anyway.
not? So you wanna go with the narrative of Rwanda and
Because not really.
Now I'm telling you that listen, they are not native to the North Kivu or to the South Kivu. No. And
actually, I was asking the point. I wasn't going to say.
I let you ask the question. Let me answer. And I'm not saying this because they are Nilotics. No. In Congo, we have Nilotics. We have native Congolese ethnic groups which are Nilots, like the Kakwa in area which you can go Kisangani or Congo Oriental. We have the Alur. We have the Hema. The Hema, they are Nilotics. Actually, the Hema of Congo, they are related to the Bahima, which Museveni, ethnic group which Museveni comes from. You see? But the Bahima, they are not on the border. The Bahema, they are on Congo side. Here on the border between Congo and Uganda, there is other ethnic group, even in Uganda. And the Bahema of Uganda, they are kind of in southwestern part of Uganda. You see? They are not on the border, but they are cousins. We know that. When it comes now to North Kivu, no, when those borders were created, the Banyarwanda were not on the side of Congo, even on the side of today Rwanda, as I've said before. Even it's stuff which you can read even among Rwandan scholars themselves. The area which you know today is the province of Western Rwanda, the area called Kisenyi, the area called Luengeri, the area called Kinyaga. Those areas used to belong to Congolese, to the authentic Congolese tribe like Bahungu.
Yeah, but that's the issue when you keep on using this are artificial borders that was created. The reason why I'm not following Paul Kagame's narrative.
To understand
right?
that, you have to read how these borders were created, because
I come from the same continent.
Hold on, let me answer you.
Let me respond. Wait, let me respond. I'm trying to get to a place.
Let me do this this idea. Sometimes we are misled to think that after they draw the line in Berlin Conference, that's what was finished. That was it. No, they went on the ground, and to understand well how some of these borders were come to conclusion. Actually, there were sometimes negotiation between the powers. Some powers taking, using those kings who were there, they were collaborating with, as a bargain chip to get some land. These things were happening. It's not just the European who came and then divide. Remember that in Africa, in pre-colonial Africa, there were small kingdoms, and those kingdoms, they were not without. It doesn't mean that people didn't know where their kingdom started and when it ended. As I've said before,
they don't know the borders. They don't know. No, they don't know the borders. This is
the indication that they knew. Look at the indication.
No, that's not
Sometimes
true.
if you left your kingdom to go to another king in the village of another kingdom, what they used to do, you had to announce yourself to the chief of the village, right or wrong?
That's true.
Yes, and why you had to do that so that they can identify you.
But they didn't know the extent of their borders, actually.
I
mean, come on, man. I come from the same continent as you. Why are you acting like? Are you trying to make it seem like I'm just following Rwandan narrative?
Yes,
I
you are
grew up.
following Rwandan narratives.
No.
If you are not following Rwandan narratives, you could have been objective on this point. I will tell you the truth. Even Lumumba, that's Rwandan.
I'm not even trying to dwell on this issue actually, but when I listen to you speak, you keep on tagging those people as people of Rwandese descent and
yes. How will a Mexican be called here in US? Even if he got citizenship, how will they call Dinas? How will you call a Mexican?
But historically, that region of California used to be part of Mexico.
But it's no longer part of Mexico. It's America.
Yeah, of course, it's part of America, right?
How will and to Congo is not, as an example I gave before. Ian in
Anyway,
US,
I don't
I'm
want us
called
to
a
stay.
Mexican
I don't want.
American, right? A Mexican American, right? Even me, Congolese, I'm called Congolese American, right or wrong?
Yeah, true.
Yes. Now, even the Banyarwanda themselves who come in the US, how do they call them? Do they call them Tutsi American or they call him Banyarwanda American?
They don't call them either. They call them either Rwandan or Congolese American.
Rwandese.
Yes. Then why is the world that's the thing now? Why the world is trying to force on Congo to call them Tutsi Congolese, Hutu Congolese? Because that is wrong anthropologically and historically. It's wrong. That's why I prefer calling them Banyarwanda Congolese. You understand? Or to some extent, I can call them a group Banyarwanda Tutsi Congolese or Banyarwanda Hutu Congolese, because that is fair historically and anthropologically.
Well, I
But
mean, we can. Okay, go ahead, John.
it's
John.
referring to one side of the border, right, or the other.
Exactly. See, the thing
No,
is, like, because
I'm,
like the thing
both
is,
sides. Both sides.
I'm called. Wait. See, we all come from the continent, even though like our region where we come from might be far away, but you tend to see the same problems across the continents everywhere, right? You go to most countries, the regions where like there are borders, you tend to find people of ethnic group from both sides of those countries. You know, sometimes some ethnic groups were even divided among three countries. You can see them and they expand beyond, right? And they are completely different people. It's the same issues that these people have in many countries. You know, even in Ghana, there are certain people along those border areas that a lot of Ghanaians they are within the central part of the country. They tend to tag them out. I mean, you people are not from Ghana, you know? You get what I'm saying? But even when they say that, that doesn't even justify those people to go and pick up arms and to probably collide with the other tribal groups where they are majority, right? Like for instance, like in northern Ghana, for instance, they are the president of the current president of Burkina Faso, right? He's from the Mosi, and there are a huge number of Mosi people even I think in Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire. But it's not even a justification. And generally, during elections, the opposition party, right, they tend to not allow people from Mosi to come because they feel like when they count them out, vote for like the different party or something like that. So people have those kind of issues, those kind of tensions a lot of the times, right? But it's not even a justification for those mostly small groups in Ghana to sort of like seek for allegiance with their bigger ethnic group in the other neighboring countries so that they will revolt against the Ghanaian government, right? So the question that I wasn't wanting, I didn't want us to just stick on the border kind of issues. The question, because my understanding is because uh over the time, like we just be concentrated of M23. But my understanding is I've heard that there's also quite a number of different faction rebel groups within the region.
All right.
The question I want to ask you is
We have,
like those people
we have
are
touched
they
on that.
okay,
We
are
have,
they fighting against the M23 or they are fighting for the territories or they are in
of
support of
course,
the
they are
government?
against M23. That's what
Okay.
That's why I said you are following only a Rwandan narrative and you don't want to be objective.
No, no.
Listen, hold on.
I just joined
I
the
get
show.
the point.
Don't be always saying that.
Let me answer it. Let me answer. We spoke about this point earlier, and I understand that you came later. You know, first of all, it's not true that Banyarwanda, because people you don't wanna. A lot of people they have never studied the Rwandan history. You don't understand the Rwandan history. That's why you have confused, and there is a lot of propaganda or there is a lot of marketing on Rwanda narratives instead of if you've never studied the issue, you're not gonna know. You know, take the Congolese side of you and Rwandan side of you, put them together, and find the truth. Because Rwanda is big on propaganda. People are being bamboozled on Rwanda. So this is the thing.
Yeah, but I'm call. Wait. Let me make this statement
Hey,
first.
I
I'll
let
let you
you
go.
speak. Let me
Yeah,
speak.
but
Let me make this statement first.
Let me
Let me make this
speak.
statement. Wait.
Let
Let
me
me make
speak.
this statement. See,
Okay,
people make decisions based on information that they receive, right? So
that's
now
it.
you have the opportunity to provide more. Don't be saying that people are just following like the Rwandese point of view. If they
It's
don't
not,
have much
that's what is in
information,
English. That's what is
they,
mainly in English. And the
okay,
Congolese
if they don't have much
in
information,
French.
they're gonna justify that decision based on the part where they receive the most information and make sense to them.
Yeah.
And we are asking you this. Don't be thinking that, oh, we are
I
just following the
understand.
Rwandans. Okay, we want you to give a perspective of your
Yes.
side too.
Yes. That's what I'm trying to do, and I understand that point of view. That's the situation. It's because Rwandan information is the one which is big in English-speaking media, and Congolese information is mainly in French. So that's where there is that disadvantage. But when I come to you, I'll provide you as many. I refer to you then the last time. Did you watch the even a little bit of me, even 15 minutes of the lecture I recommend to you of the scholar about the Banyamulenge? Because he provide a lot of sources, even the scholars who went to study them before this conflict, even their own scholars, what they said. And when you scrutinize it, you'll find that it's true that these people, they are migrants. They migrated from Rwanda in the 1900s, a few families, and many of them came in the 1920, 1930, especially in 1959. That's when in their thousand they moved to Congo. Now, the other issue which you raised, and about this, actually, do you think a country like a Congo did it even after independence? They never did census. Of course, Congo conducted census.
Most countries.
And even Belgium. Actually, let me tell you, I've lived in many. I've lived in French colonized country and English colonized country. Man, the Belgian on administration, they are good. They are very good when it comes to administration. The Belgians recorded all the ethnic group that they found in Congo. And when you go look for in this document reference, it's in French, but I'll say it in English. You can find it online. Orthography, people and places orthography in Congo by Van Bulk. It was published in 1954. When you go to page 33, you're gonna see where they especially in Kivu. This page is about Kivu. You're gonna see the ethnic group which they identify in Kivu, and where they identify the Tutsi and Hutu. You'll see Rwanda and Burundi. Even in dictionary, before all this manipulation, even in some dictionary, when you went to look for Hutu and Tutsi, they will show you they are subgroup of Bantu, for example, for the Hutu, subgroup of Bantu, which you can find in Rwanda or Burundi. And for Tutsi, they will say subgroup of Nilotics, which are originating from Rwanda and Burundi.
Yeah, but you keep on justifying this. See, I come from West Africa.
I'm giving
right?
you truth. I'm giving you facts.
Wait, I come from West Africa, right? And wait. And I've also read books from a European perspective about certain groups that come from my region. And when I listen to them, I'm like, no, that's wrong. Some of them, they do make mistakes about even the regions where they come from. You know, even when they came to Ghana, they labeled all the region in Central Ghana as the Ashanti Empire, and that wasn't even completely true.
You see,
Right? But I'm just saying that.
Me, I was about to answer your question. Like as I've said before, of course, in Congo as well, there are ethnic groups which are divided into even 3 different countries. But I'll give you an example. It's like in Tanzania there is a ethnic group called Babembe. These people are originally from Congo, but now they live in Tanzania. The difference with them is this: they migrated there in the 1700s during the Arab Maafa. That's how they are found there. Now the example with our brother, when it comes to our brother Banyarwanda in Congo, it will be like if those Babembe, they went instead of Ilagala where they are found most of the time, they will migrate like in places called Kazuramimba, and then later on Tanzania, with this situation which is going on in Congo, with a lot of refugees going to Tanzania. Now, those refugees who are resettled like in area called Lugufu, you can go to the map and look up this, so that probably that's what will make you understand the situation. In that area which called Lugufu, then later on, these people of ethnic group of Babembe, they will refuse. Now, after maybe 40 years in Tanzania, they'll say, no. We are no longer called Babembe. We are no longer ethnic group of Babembe. Now we are called Banyakazuramimba. Okay? Now they are living in Lugufu, all those refugees, all those who migrated before. We are now Banyakazuramimba, and we want to be a recognized ethnic group of Tanzania, and we want this land. This land now is not is not, because that land is mainly for Waha ethnic group. Now this land is not Baha ethnic group land, it's now us, and it's Banyakazuramimba. We want the government to recognize us as authentic Tanzanian ethnic group, and all of us, we want group citizenship. And when the Tanzanian government approach them and tell them, hey guys, listen, this is not true and is not correct. Yes, among you, we know those who have Congolese citizenship, but there are those who came as refugees. Then, because now there is some power which wanna destabilize Tanzania, fund them, give them arms, and even provide them backup of country like maybe Mozambique and Zambia to fight Tanzanian government. Do you understand? That's the situation how it's happening.
So I mean, part of the issue is, I mean, they don't have like a proper like record keeping system. I mean, it's the same thing for most part of African countries. You know, it's easy for people. There are some that falls within the borders of the countries, but then it's easy for their neighboring people from other side of the country to migrate and come and also integrate into the society, right? So because they don't have a proper record keeping system in the country of recording the whole entirety of the population in the country, it just make it difficult for people to know who and who is. But the question, like in addressing, asking you to address the rebel situation. So you mean the other faction of the rebel groups, they are like they are just fighting for the integrity of their region, as opposed to M23, who just want to have their own sovereignty, like they just want to separate from Congo, right?
Yes, as I've said before, this is how those other group which you've heard, the 150 group, how they came up. So there is like a Codeco. Yes, Codeco is Congolese group which came up when Uganda was instrumentalizing the Bahema, as I said, Bahema, who are authentic Congolese ethnic group, but they are related to Bahima, to Bahima of Uganda, Museveni, group. They were instrumentalizing them to take land of Balendu, and the Lendu were killed in their thousands. Actually, there is even Muhema who was sent to International Criminal Court of Justice, and he was tried there. So you see that Codeco, that's how it started. So it's to protect now the Lendu against this Hema, not Bahema, but the Ugandan force which is instrumentalizing the Bahema. That's one, which I condemn. Now, of course, they've managed to protect themselves, but now they are going further. They are now even killing our brothers Bahema, which I've been condemning, and I would like it to stop. The Congolese army is trying to stop them. It has been all these years fighting them and trying to stop them. Now there is another group. Let's say like a group, those you've been hearing Mai Mai. Now, what is Mai Mai? Mai Mai is when the Rwandan army invade, like now M23, and they've been killing people. Like they kill some members of your family, and they've killed. And then we come along as young people. We're like, guys, if we continue like this, we'll be finished. Let's resist. Then you organize it yourself by whatever mean you have, be it stone, be it knife, be it whatever you have. Then you get guns, you start resisting. That's how this so-called My group movement started. And those are the many of those 150 groups. It was as a resistance. Those are the one who today they are even being called as Wazalendo. So they started as militia to resist against the Rwandan invasion. Now, there is another group. There is a group you've been hearing, FDLR, right? And Kagame have been saying these are the remnant of people who, of course, genocide. But people, if they told you that the founder of FDLR actually lives in Rwanda right now, Rokababije is in Rwanda. People, do you know that the president in 1994, the guy who was the president of Interahamwe was actually a Tutsi? No, they're never gonna tell you that. And you can look it up this in documents. It's not my fiction. No. So those FDLR, yes, they are the descendant of those Rwandan refugees, and among them, some people who probably took part in genocide. But
so where do they stand, the FDR?
When you study them, all reports have shown that they are not any threat to Rwanda. They are not. They are actually a threat to Congolese, and that's why Congolese government and the Congolese army have been hunting them. You know, the
So the
last time in
FDR, so the
2022,
FDR, it's not just only M23. FDR too is included.
that's what I'm saying. The FDLR. I'm speaking of the FDLR, the Force de Libération of Rwanda, whatever. That's why in 2023 or 2022, the Congolese army even allowed a Rwandan special force with the intelligence of Congolese. They allowed Rwanda to send its intelligence, its special force to take down the leadership of this FDLR. Okay? But Rwanda, because this is the alibi that Rwanda wants to be using every time against Congo, they don't want that force to finish. No. Every time, as I've said, read the recently published 2024 UN Group of Experts report. They've touched on this thing. They've touched on the issue of FDLR and how Rwanda is instrumentalizing FDLR. And in the past, like I said, in the book Holocaust in Congo, there is a chapter on this. I don't have the book with me. I could even give you the chapter on this issue. They found that even those members of FDLR who were captured by Congolese army, given to the UN and repatriated in Rwanda, Rwanda has been, like I would say, brainwashing them and training them. Some, it incorporate them in their army, and some, it sent them back into Congo. To the point that there is even a member of FDLR who said, if you are lucky and you have like a brother in Rwanda or in Rwandan army, he's the one who's going to be supplying you with guns and ammunition. But because Rwanda, this is the issue which it want to, to be using as an alibi, it will always use that. Okay?
Yeah, undoubtedly. I mean, Rwanda has they have external backing. Actually, and all this, fight, because when you keep on saying that, a lot of people just follow. Everybody knows in the Western society that this fight is not about no freaking land. It's about the resources in that region, And for the most part, even the ones that are actually there on the ground fighting, they're not the ones going to benefit. It's just a section of few, and the Western, the investors from the outside of those regions. Everybody knows this. Actually, it's about the resources. It's not really about a land or something like that. Whenever people discover that there's vital resources in that region, then you see people trying to create a conflict because everybody want to have a stake in it. Everybody knows that.
I'm looking for that page where you can read, where you can go and read yourself the idea of Museveni on this issue of creating what they call probably Hima, Tutsi, Chwezi empire in that area. So I'm in the book which I referred to you. I'm just a few minutes while you're talking. I'm looking for that. So
okay.
I have a question for Omkar.
Yes.
Also, I'm trying to determine when you talk to people on these chats, they say, "Oh, it's the cobalt. The West wants the cobalt. What percentage of cobalt globally is coming out of these areas, out of the conflict zone?"
In the conflict zone, people get confused. There is just many mines. When it comes to the conflict with Rwanda, is the 3T. We call it 3T: tantalum, tungsten, and what they call it, 3T, columbite, and gold. That's the big part of this side of Rwandan conflict. The 3Ts.
But what percentage? Do you know?
Yes. In this area, you mean of the world supply?
Yeah,
of the world supply. Yeah.
Yeah, production.
It can be probably 40 to 50%.
Of not gold though, of tungsten and that kind of stuff.
Yes, the 3T.
Yeah, but we got to be very specific. You got to understand what is the reserve in the region, and how much are they producing to the global supply, like within like the global market.
Another thing you need to factor, it's when this rebellion or so-called rebellion, they can be also used as a pawn in negotiation in that cobalt chain,
Of course.
Yeah, you remember Congo has 50% of world reserve of cobalt, right? And the other one, what is it? The last time I saw, the one you find in Manono. not platinum, but this other mineral that goes into the this up to now. It's big. Let me see. No. This word always slip my mind. So that's what is up. But the other thing is not only about those minerals. Yes, those who are backing Rwanda, it's about mineral. But Rwanda and Uganda, they other than being a proxy of the West, they have their own agenda as well. And that agenda, it's of annexing, occupying the
Yeah, but it's not about land,
region
man.
and
Trust me.
annexing.
See, even in the case of even Sudan and South Sudan, people did argue that it was really about the Arab Muslim Sudanese were discriminated. I mean, there was validity into their argument, but overall goal was also to control the oil that was being produced in Sudan. And that's why when they separated, they had to sign a treaty between the Sudan and South Sudan about how they
Yes.
really apportion the oil resources that has been produced from that country.
Yeah.
So like people know that. I mean, we
the
all
other,
know that.
the other mineral is lithium. There is a lot of lithium in Congo,
Yeah.
especially in East, South, in all that chain. Do you see that on the Congo side? There is this
Oh, we're
mountain
talking
chain.
about North Kivu where the conflict is because people are always because I mean Ja is actually asking the right question because I mean how much are you supplying to the global market, you know, and what is the percentage of reserve do you have in your own country, you know, even the reserve that you have, is it recoverable? Because you can have a reserve but you don't have the
That's true
necessary
too.
the technology and the resources to be able to produce. You know, I'll give you a prime example. The world, the
So
country
that's
with
what
the largest.
you want to justify. Now you want to
Let me fin-
justify that
let,
in the
let,
killings of millions. So
no, no, I'm just no, I'm
so
just no,
you
I'm
want
not, I'm
to
not no, no, I'm not
discuss that?
speaking about that. No, I'm not speaking about that. I'm just saying like a lot of time people just trying to throw in that this if the resource because I was just trying to give an example. Even the country with the largest reserve of oil is not actually Saudi Arabia or the U.S. Guess which country has the largest reserve of oil? Ja, you know that?
What is
It's
it,
actually
Venezuela?
yes, it's actually Venezuela. But you rarely hear it because the kind of oil they have is called heavy oil.
Heavy
And
crude, yeah.
yeah, heavy crude to be able to produce it, you don't need natural energy to be able to produce those kind of oil. You need additional secondary recovery systems to be able to produce it, which makes the overall cost of production very expensive as compared to kind of oil countries like Saudis and US have, right? Though most countries are going to rely on the cheapest way to produce and make the most profit.
Do you
So
know
that's
why?
why.
Do you know why Congo took Apple to court?
Wait, what?
Do you know why Congo
No.
took Apple's like the company
No.
Apple's Inc. to court? It's because of that's where they get their supply in the treaty from Rwanda mainly, and pressing those mines. Rwanda doesn't have enough. Of course, Rwanda when yeah, this is Rwanda has a little bit, and they are mining in Rwanda like mining like the coltan, the columbite in Rwanda is difficult. I know a guy who is in US who used to live in Rwanda and he was in mining. I asked him this, I know that with that mineralization, there might be some in Rwanda. He told me, I've been there and I've done it. It's very difficult it's not like the Congolese side. The Congolese side,
Mhm.
it's easy to mine those mines. In Rwanda, there is a lot of process which you have to do, chemical process you have to use so as to get a little bit, and it's in small
Yeah.
quantity.
So
You know,
check this out. The thing is that the biggest oil producer in the world right now is America, right?
hmm
The thing is, America produces the most oil and it's broken out into all kinds of companies and stuff, but there's no conflict like fighting over it. You see what I'm saying? So the
Yeah.
thing is, Congo just doesn't have a centralized government, and government that run without like you look at Russia. Russia was supposed to have this big bad military, and of course, Ukraine has partners.
With the West. Are you there? Hello?
Yeah, something is wrong with his phone. It keeps
Oh,
going.
okay. So okay, and then I was gonna say like I mean, because I mean, people will try to demonize Apple. I mean, there could be validity in their argument, but the thing is Congo or Rwanda the only supplier of those like the the mineral to Apple? There could be other countries that are also supplying Apple. You know, so it's not like just these countries that are only the producer or the supplier of this mineral resources uh,
Yeah, I
to
yeah, I don't think
to
that
Apple.
Congolese. I don't think people are saying that Apple is getting only mines from Congo. No, 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 no. But a, a huge quantity of what they are
Yeah.
getting. That's the thing it's saying.
Yeah, Apple probably doesn't produce the actual items that go into the device. It's probably more other companies that are doing it and selling it into
To
Apple's.
them, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even in the oil industry, like when we go to the gas stations to buy the oil, these are like the downstream oil sector. Like we go to the gas station and buy, but actually the companies that are really in the upstream sector that are actually producing the oil, you don't see them at the various filling the gas stations that you go to. You know, because once they produce their oil and they sell it to the downstream folks. They refine it, and you only see the ones at the various gas stations, like British Petroleum and the other kind of like
Chevron, Exxon.
Chevron and those kind of people. You know, yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of like companies upstream that most Americans have never heard of them, but they do exist
Yeah, because there are a bunch of
in America.
companies producing oil in America that don't. They sell their oil to the Chevrons and the refineries and all this,
Exactly right,
like
but most people.
Continental Petroleum, all kinds of
Yeah,
ones.
yeah, like
There's
yeah,
a whole bunch
yeah,
of them.
yeah, yeah, like Occidental and Oxy,
Occidental, yeah,
Schlumberger, oh
Sunbird,
man,
right? Halliburton, but they drilled lately,
Halliburton,
but still,
Talo Oil, this
yeah, yeah.
Italian oil company is there. So I think the
So I would
issue.
like to know what dollar amount they're fighting over there. Like what percent, like what percent of each one of these minerals is coming out the ground? What is it mainly used for when it hits the West?
No, no,
And
but
then what's
I
the
think
dollar amount that like is coming out of that area?
no, no,
So like what
I think even
what
the
block
right
are they
question.
fighting over?
I think even the right question you gotta ask them is that what is the contractual agreement between those countries and these foreign companies? Like, because generally most countries, if they invest their money to discover these resources, they tend to have the majority stake. You know, in the case of Ghana, for instance, the oil that was discovered in the offshores of Ghana, most of these companies, European and American companies, are the ones with the majority stake because they're the one who invested their money to search for those oil, and the government of Ghana just have only a stake, which is roughly about 13% of the oil that has been produced out of 100%.
But that kind of happens in America too, because America they mainly are getting the taxes or whatever.
No, no, no. But I'm just saying, like I'm just giving an example in case of the how like the oil industry is kind of being structured. If the company comes and buy a block, buy a land, and
Yeah.
I search for the mineral and I discovered it, the government of the country can say, okay, since you're the one who invested heavily to discover and everything,
Right.
I only get to have this percentage in the
Yeah,
stake, right?
that's how it's done.
Yeah. So we want to know, like, in the case of like the kind of mineral that has been produced in Congo, how much percentage does the host country have?
Oh, when it comes to those negotiation, oh,
Yes. Are they
they
getting 50%,
Yeah,
50-50 deal
no, no,
or?
no, 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 no. They are not getting 50%. Like, let's in case like this is, and this is the issue which a lot of Congolese didn't like the former president Joseph Kabila. It's like it's just like giving out, and this is and again that's why it's important to read because it started with American Mineral Field, the company which used to be called American Mineral Field. Now it's called I think Astrada. They gain access to all, I think it was diamonds, and so it was really, even some international watchdogs were like, no, 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 this is taking advantage of people. So the government, like, let's say Freeport McMoran, the company, the American company which used to mine the cobalt in Katanga.
Mhm.
In that state, Congolese government had like probably 20 or 30%. And the investor of Freeport McMoran, in which there was also George Bush in it, they had all the rest. When it comes to Jekamin, now this is what they did after the first war of Congo.
But I'll add also this to give the viewers a better perspective, right?
Yeah.
When you kind of put it that way, it's not like the industry because I have a little understanding of
It's the interest
No,
after
yeah,
selling, after exploiting and
I'm
selling
just
the
looking at because I
mineral.
have a little understanding of the oil and gas industry. It's not like when they get a 20%, it's like the whole reserve. No, it's just a section of the reserve that they buy. Like let's say
Yeah,
if
they
they
saw.
they buy 200 acres of the land within the reserve, and they discover some mineral over there, and that's how they
No.
strike
They
back.
didn't have to
Within
discover. It was already found. It was already there is
no,
this
you still know. If you have reserve, it's not enough. You still got to discover it. You have to have
exploration.
a
Like they have to do.
recoverable. You have to know. It has to be recoverable. Having a reserve is not enough. Just if in Ghana, for instance, when it comes to oil industry, there's a huge reserve even on the land of the Ghana.
They do some studies, some exploration, and they do
Yes.
some studies so as to
So
confirm
so
how much
there's a
is there, right?
yes. So there's an estimation that we have reserve in this region, but as to where we can actually recover the actual mineral, we don't know. So you got to invest in trying to discover where you can actually make the first discovery.
And that's what I'm trying to tell you. Now in Congo, it's reached to the point which they don't spend a lot of money in exploration. I know that phase because I've tried to go into mining in Congo as well. Let me tell you the story of Congo. In Congo, do you see, like in Congo, there is some area. When I was young, there is an area called Misisi in southern Kivu. And once upon a time when it was during school holiday, and my father, because he was doing business between Congo and the Eastern African country, we went together to the holiday. I mean, as just trying to discover or to visit the inland of Congo, and we went to this area called Misisi. Man, when we arrived there, it rained. It was a village at that time. It rained. Do you know what? After this rain, when it rained, and after the rain, there is a sun like a sunrise. You could see from the just on the ground, the background, you could see some yellow thing shining. And I asked it because I was young that time. I was like 7 or 6. I asked my dad, "What is that?" He told me, "Yeah, this is how rich this area is. Those yellow stuff which you see, it's gold." And that's an area of South Kivu where there is a lot of gold. You see, you can look at this company called Banro. It's a Canadian company.
Oh, Canadian, yeah.
Yes,
Canada also produce a lot of gold, actually.
yes.
Canadians big into mining, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And this is what people don't know. Canada, people don't know that Canada is also involved in this war in Congo.
So
I
my
mean,
question is though,
if they have their companies over there, of course.
Because check this out, Freeport McMoran, right?
Yes.
They trade. I don't know if back then they did, but they trade publicly on the stock market right now. So if you have a retirement account or anything like that, odds are you are invested in Freeport McMoran, right? So saying that Bush is in there, I don't know what percentage he had, but all kinds of people are in there. I don't know if back then they traded publicly. But I always used to think that in the Congo, the mines were like these small mines, like people go, like not big equipment, like guys going down into shafts and doing it themselves kind of a deal. Is it mostly that type of stuff? Is it mostly big companies doing the mining?
It has to be large scale mining, right?
So this is the thing. In Congo, so because it's so rich, of course there was a big company like the Kilomoto, huge industrial, like big, like there is this big company which used to be owned by the state, Jekamin, which used to have its industrial mining in Katanga mainly, but there was other parts in.
Where is Katanga located? Where is that located?
Katanga is on southeast of Congo. That's where that's where there is a lot of cobalt, a lot of
is that
a lot of copper, a lot of diamond, a lot of this lithium.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the lithium. So there was that. in North Kivu, there was another one, industrial level, Kilomoto. In Kivu as well, there was another one. But after the war, what they did, and this, they pillaged the machine. Every place where Rwanda and Uganda were going, there were even industrial production of sugar in my area where my parents are originating, in Uvira, sugar industrial company. There was even rice, industrial harvesting of rice with farms. When the war came, and this is what people probably they don't factor in account when the Congo become now weak as it is. These guys from Rwanda and Burundi, and at that time, the first war, it was Rwanda, Uganda, Burundi, and some even other country contributing a small troop. They were going into these companies and they take out the machine. So actually plundering the machine and taking it to Rwanda and wherever they were taking it to sell. Not only that, even the cars and so this company later on, when the Congolese in the 2003 when they took over, after all those deals of adding the Rwandan army and Congolese army, giving them posts and stuff, the state was weakened. This company couldn't function. So the state needed loans. With the structure of International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, how they put Congo, they give Congo some other conditions which are bad conditions. And that's how Congo ended up kind of having a bad leader who was there, Joseph Kabila also, who we still don't believe that he was Congolese because of his act. He literally sold off Congolese mine for peanuts. You understand? But
was he a capitalist or what?
Wait. But yes, like brother asked, other than this area which this big company were mining, because Congo is so rich, there are other areas where people also go and just with a shovel and whatever, they can dig up and get these mines. Now you understand? Like in eastern part of Kivu, other than the reserve, because it's a huge area where there is this mine, because that industrial company is not gonna control every area, especially when the war came. So when these so-called rebel attack, especially they attack and they took the North Kivu, people don't know there is actually even an American company which is located in North Kivu mining Wolfram mine. Have you ever heard about that mineral?
Yeah, but it's not a surprise. It's not a surprise to someone like
Wolfram
me.
mine, and they use it in the I think aerospace companies like in shuttle, space shuttle.
The aerospace. Okay.
Yes. So then with the deals that the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund forced Congo to go into, it was like a losing deal. Instead of Congo gaining, with this leader, again, that percentage which was given, it was not even all the proceeds were not even being paid in Congolese coffins. This leader who we still doubt, he was also, that's where I always say, and I'm right with Dinas, that we hold accountable some of Congolese leaders. They were embezzling that money. And that's why, so that was the situation. That's when even Congo, another good thing which he was trying to do, it's going with Chinese now into a deal like instead of China paying money to Congolese, but China can build infrastructure, and China exploit mines. That's
the policy they have in most African countries. Actually,
that's what it was trying.
They get your resources, your natural resources, your raw materials, in exchange for building your infrastructure.
Yeah. So basically, those so-called rebel groups were sometimes used as a bargaining chip. Like if Congo doesn't want to gain an upper hand in negotiation, they will create this instability in the east or wherever. Then Congo destabilized, and they can
So once we even understand this whole dynamics, it comes even to the realization that even this whole ethnic groups fighting among themselves over land, the end game, they are not even the ones going to benefit the most. They are actually people behind the public space, that will be the major beneficiaries of this whole conflict.
Yes, that's true.
You know. So
I'm gonna look into
sometimes,
it, man. But
sometimes,
I
go
want to
ahead.
know how. I'm gonna look into it. I want to know how much of it is the big companies doing, industrial type mining with good equipment and
Yeah,
everything, and how much of it is just the warlords or whoever controlling certain areas and doing it themselves.
Yeah.
Or
yeah,
if it was like a greater number of companies now, and over time the companies have gotten less and less, and now it's
yeah,
more warlords doing the mining and stuff like that.
yeah. There is,
Because I don't
there is
see like a company, if they're above board and official, trying to be in an area where you're gonna have to pay bribes to people to survive, or like the government can't give you a certain level of protection. Because in America, that's what we have. You have the government essentially giving you a level of protection so you could mine, and nobody can just run up in your mine and just take it over. You got to go to the police or whatever. Or the courts. There's some
You know,
system
you
for
gotta go through
reasons.
like the permitting agencies. You know,
The permitting
agencies.
agencies, all that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. But then still, even if you have a permit, if it was a situation where I have bigger guns and more people, I can just run up and take it anyway. Then it wouldn't matter how many permits you got. There
I
has to
mean,
be some kind of a backing from the state or some force that says we set the rules to the game. We're going to protect it
well,
and make sure the
that's the
game is played fairly.
that's what the permit is all about, actually. You know.
Yeah,
and
but you
that,
get
I mean,
you get my point though, right? The state issues
yeah.
a permit, right? Let's say the state issues a permit in Rwanda and say, hey, you can go ahead and mine here. But the state doesn't have the forces to go into that your mine or go into that
Oh
area
yeah,
and
I
make
was
sure
speaking
that
in reference. I was speaking
let
in
me
reference.
give you one scenario that
Please.
people, I found when I tried to get involved. I found appalling. Do you know that even before this World Cup, this like before even 2000, because I went there, I was trying to get into it. It was before 2020. I found
Yeah,
that
yeah,
many
the
many
mining
mine
business.
yes, yes, many mining of Eastern Kivu, like gold. I mean of Kivu, be it gold, be it tantalite, coltan, 3T. They've come up. There is this NGO which the international community gave kind of responsibility of certifying which one is conflict-free mineral. And do you know where it's located? They put it in Rwanda, in Kigali. Can you imagine that?
Oh,
So,
conflict free. Okay.
yes. So if the mines from Congo, they have to be certified by Rwanda, in Rwanda. And me being me and having connections, I start asking, some of our authority, and why is this? What? And I found out that it's not. It's Congo was forced. The Congolese hand was forced so to agree that it should be. That's why you hear Rwanda is a biggest exporter of most of this mineral, because when
Oh
they
wait. Let me actually let me get clarity to what you're saying. For the particular like raw material that you wanted to mine, you need a permit from.
no, you get a permit from Congolese government and
Uh-huh.
everything, but after you mine it, so as you can sell it to international market, like in Dubai, for example, in the case of gold. Okay,
Hmm.
there is a lot of gold in Kivu, especially in South Kivu, Twangiza area, Ubembe. If you have a cooperative, after you mine that gold, so as you can sell it like legally on international market, you have to get certified by an organization which was found in Rwanda, which it was in Rwanda.
Okay. I mean, man. So are you gonna blame? You gotta blame Congo for that, though. You don't really have to blame. And also, you can't
And
say
that's
like,
what listen now, and that's what causes this war again. Because
yeah, you
that
can.
I give credit to Tshisekedi. When he came in power, he was trying to change most of that, because the guy who I heard him saying, the guy who was representing, in San Francisco, in Silicon Valley, representing all the kind of the mines, or the mines which Silicon Valley use, in the end chain. He was a guy who was appointed by Rwanda instead of being a Congolese, appointed by Congo.
Let me
And
ask you a question too when you're done.
yeah, and Tshisekedi, he revolted, he protested against that. He asked that that should be changed, because those minerals come from Congo for the most part. So Congolese, they are the one who had to have the more, the most saying, on those representation. You see, those are some of the issues that's.
Yeah, but you can't really say like they actually force Congolese to do that actually, because someone actually sat down and signed. You get what I'm saying? That person who did the
I understand.
signing could be a traitor to Congolese for his own personal benefit. This is not a surprise to in most African countries
You are
actually.
right. Do you see like the war with this war when Rwanda and all these other group forced Congolese to negotiate, to only sit down and negotiate? Do you know what is in the agenda of negotiation? It's because of that. They don't want those clauses to be changed. You understand?
Yeah.
Every time when there is war, it's not just war. It's mainly first it's economic, then there is other agendas.
Oh, of course, man. I mean, when I see this, I'm like this. When I heard you explaining this, ethnic, migration pattern, I'm like, this is no different from most West African countries. But nobody's just
Because that's what they are
getting up
using.
and fighting. The only time that I
But
heard,
it's no
even
different than Russia either.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
Russia
wait,
says the people in Ukraine speak Russian, and so they're Russian and stuff. So that's why they can go in there.
no, but Russian situation is more like a geopolitical move in terms of preventing a Western power from coming close to your border. That's whole
Nah,
different.
that doesn't make any sense because Poland is already in NATO, and a bunch of other countries in NATO, and they're
There is
already on their
also
border.
some mining
That's
interest
an
there.
excuse.
There is also some mining.
Well, not really,
It's
man. It's not.
resources that they're going there for too,
No,
and
not
to take
really.
back land.
Not really.
So
All
it's a
right,
similar
guys,
type of thing.
thank you. I think I'll leave. I have other stuff.
Okay, yeah, we'll go ahead and close out, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family. Dynasty Mirror, search for Huru. Peace.